Rhea Schreiber, Ronnie Schneider, whoopsie. Oh, sorry. Caught me studying. Let me just. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Alex Beck, part of the Call to Action crew, and you're hanging out with us today to chat a little bit of Call to Action breakdown, but we're going to break down the stats, the numbers, round by round with some of our favorite people, all when it comes to Schmo Down. The Barbarian. What's up, my dude?
Not much. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, you are one of the biggest rookie Schmodows I've ever seen, and so obviously we're pretty excited to see you here.
That's very flattering of you. Flattery will get you everywhere else.
What can I say? Mm-hmm. But as much as I love the Barbarian, one of my favorite people of all time is right over here, Miss Kelsey.
Elvis?
What up?
Elvis as well. I cannot dispute with Elvis, so Elvis will be the final person we introduce. But hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm so excited to get to talk about this match. It's going to be great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is a big match. We are rounding up the finals. This is finalizing the semifinals of the IG tournament. Tomato. You know what I meant. But it's pretty amazing. You, the Barbarian, this is your first time going in IG, obviously, as a rookie. So going into this, you're sitting at a perfect 2-0, undefeated. But also, you are going up against Chance Ellison, who actually sits at 2-1. So I feel like it's a pretty well-evened match. So, before we kind of dive into the match itself, diving into the psychology a little bit, how did you feel as a rookie going up against, a champion?
So, I didn't really think of Chance's championship status as it because, coming in, I understand fully that competing in the singles and teams division is apples and oranges to competing in the Innergeekdom division. I mean, it's a completely different game, and it looks the same, it sounds the same, but the preparation and it's completely different between the two divisions or three divisions, etc. But for me coming into this, when the tournament came around, they announced the tournament at some point. It was either shortly before, or shortly after. My dear beloved Red Sonja passed away, and so initially I actually told my faction that I would not, I was going to step aside and let other people do the tournament, and then Tom Dagnino reached out to me. We actually spoke basically the day before Sonja's funeral, and we decided that. It would be good for me to step in and take this opportunity. And, I was basically studying from scratch. I mean, clearly I'd seen all these movies before, but there's no, there's a big difference between having just watched these movies and having the knowledge, the in-depth, deep cut question knowledge to be able to answer the questions in this division. And so I was basically studying from scratch, as of May 9th was, the day I got started studying, and my first match against Adam Lovick was, June 1st. And then we, had match basically every 2 weeks after that. So it was a very, very short turnaround. And so going up against Chance, I knew whoever came out of that side of that quartile of the bracket was going to be my biggest challenge of the tournament so far. Because I think, just looking at that quartile, it was, you had a lot, you had a former singles champion in Paul Oyama, you have a former teams champion in Chance Ellison, you have Robert Parker, who everyone was pegging to be the odds-on favorite to win the tournament, and, you have Ben Goddard, who's shown so far this season that he's no slouch either. And so, even though I just said before that, playing in singles and teams is different than playing in Innergeekdom, I also know the kind of player that Chance is and the kind of player that Paul Oyama is. So I know that I know how their brains work, and I know how dedicated they are to the sport. So I knew that whoever I was one that wasn't just saying, oh, well, it's clearly going to be Parker coming out of there. I knew that either Chance or Paul could have taken Parker out if the game happened the way it did. So so I came into this with having been so each match that I had leading up to this, I'd had more and more time to prepare, and I had, so even those, I only had 3 weeks before my first match, but then I had another 2 weeks and another 2 weeks. So I'm at least getting more and more, under my belt in terms of it. And I did feel very prepared coming into this match, and I felt like this was my, the most prepared I'd been for any of my IG matches.
That's a lot of preparation overall. I can't. Well,
there are 214 movies in the Innergeekdom.
So only a couple.
Just a couple.
Just a few. Like that's like maybe a marathon here and there every month, maybe.
Just so everyone knows, we discussed pre-show. My internet's been wonky, and sometimes the people will freeze on me, and there we go. So, Alex, you're back. I can see you again.
Yes.
For some reason, only Alex freezes. Kelsey never freezes.
It's definitely my internet. Like, I literally didn't get internet back until like maybe an hour and a half ago. I'm not exaggerating. I wish I were exaggerating, but I'm not. But yeah, like the moment we woke up this morning, both Lucas and I, we were like, yeah, no internet outside of our phone. And that's because unless we use like a hotspot or something, kind of situation. And even then it would be like really wonky. Like it would like break out of that hotspot situation after only a few minutes. Anyway, this is not about me. Okay, so a little bit, you kind of dived into a little bit of your psychology of going into it. And now obviously this is a really high pressure match, especially going up against, Shannon and, corruption. They've really been taking over, Ellison, not Ellison, but KO and Alex Damon, their match just was released not too long ago as well. So it's a very corruption dominated tournament overall. So you were kind of hoping to break through that essentially, as the Barbarian for the Finstock Exchange, essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, look, coming into the tournament, it's, we knew tournament season that this was, we needed to score points in order to, keep our lead in the division standings. We couldn't just rest on our laurels and just assume that no one would pass us, even though we had a strong lead. And as you see, corruption's just kind of, creeping up on our tails. So, fortunately, DeMolanta, even though he didn't win his tournament, performed well enough to, get some points for the faction there. And I did well enough that I got some, hard-earned factions for the points here. And it's, it really has been instrumental for our team in the standings, and now we're coming into the singles and teams, and we've got these title matches and these number one contenders matches where the guys that our faction supposed to be depending on are the five horsemen, the four or five horsemen, and so we're even though corruption's had a little bit of a jump in the standings, and Swags found a way to jump up in the standings a little bit too. We're still looking good. We still like where we are in the standings.
Yeah, no joke. Finstock Exchange and Gucci obviously is no slouch. He knew what he was doing, drafting you guys going into it. So I mean, obviously, and we're gonna see going into this match. I'm sure as a manager, we can't speak for him, but I'm sure he was so mega proud of you during this match. You couldn't have been any better. I mean, because you did fantastic, for sure. Now, before kind of diving into this match as well, Kelsey, do you have any real quick questions before we kind of dive into it?
Not real quick questions. Just a comment that we forgot to mention earlier. Today is a holiday that we are celebrating.
What? Oh.
I mean, there's technically 2 holidays. I'm in Utah, and it's Pioneer Day here, but that's not what we're celebrating. It is Tequila Day.
National Tequila Day.
Oh, no.
So go grab your tequila. I only have White Claw. I'm doing my best.
White Claw is like the tequila of hard seltzers, so I think that
yes.
White Claw, though, is good for any occasion, including National Tequila Day. What kind of tequila are you drinking, Barbarian?
I got the Patron Silver here.
Oh, that's good stuff. I got, it's not actually tequila. I don't have any tequila in my house, but I do have this coffee-infused whiskey by Jameson. So
it's also good. I think you should send Lucas out to get some tequila.
Yeah, Lucas, he's in the chat. Lucas, go get tequila.
Lucas, go get the tequila. Run.
All right, slunch, you guys.
Yep.
So refreshing.
I'm chasing my tequila with the. I got my dinner from fellow Shmunout competitor Kevin Smith's Movies pop-up. And the Movies pop-up also serves as like a hard Capri Sun. It's very tasty. If you're in Los Angeles, I would highly recommend checking out the Movies pop-up. I greatly enjoyed the food. It was a little cold, so I would say schedule the in-person pickup instead of the delivery.
Yeah.
But but like the flavor was still there for the burger itself. I was really happy, really pleased with the burger.
Isn't it vegan?
What'd you say?
Isn't it vegan?
Well, the one I got was vegan. I did get the vegan burger, but he has actual meat products as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because Rachel's vegan and she mentioned it, but she told me that Kevin Smith is vegan as well.
Vegan.
And so it was like a whole thing with the menu. But also everyone's favorite dessert treat, chocolate covered pretzels.
Oh yes, I had some of those also. They smelled a little funny, but they still tasted delicious.
Oh, yeah.
So jealous.
All right, well, we got some tequila in our bellies, so let's go ahead and get this started. I can't wait to chat this match. This is a great match. I love the back and forth and everything.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. And let me know about volume. I should have checked it before we
On
started.
July 31st, it's going to be our first pay-per-view.
It sounds good to me. What do you think, Craig?
Ethan Irwin.
Sounds good to me.
Number one contender match.
Perfect.
To find out who faces Dan.
Do you have any
Murrell
predictions for that match,
championship,
Craig?
The undercard final
What'd you say?
exam versus.
Do you have any
Oh,
predictions for Roca versus Irwin?
I mean, Roka's. I think mentioned that I'm helping him prep for it, and I think that we're seeing a new gear of John Roca that I've never seen.
Yeah.
You thought he was good in the past. Just wait till you see what he does in this match.
Not kidding. He talks about it all the time how he's been doing some new strategies. He's working with you, and you're helping him so much, going into this like next season with new like strategies about, with increasing memory and all that good stuff.
You're frozen for me.
Oh, just frozen. But yeah, I have Roca winning that one. I think he's gonna pull it. So it's gonna be a really good match. So I'm super excited for it.
And then in terms of the undercard,
This idea needs a website.
Oh, good, a commercial.
Yeah, I don't have
So-
Prime because I'm
I can't put it in me to like pay for another subscription service. I can't. I don't care how cheap it is.
Welcome back.
I
to
really
the movie
should buy it as
trivia
much as I use
The
Amazon, use
Innergeekdom
YouTube.
tournament. It
Yeah.
continues, and it is the semifinals. That is right. The semifinals have begun, and joining me as always is Mark Ellis. Mark, what a match! And
Johnny
an
Blaze.
unexpected.
Blaze! What is that from?
With the Barbarian.
Rider.
Some people thought the Barbarian could get
What's it
here,
from? Sorry.
but
Ghost Rider.
Cobra,
Ghost
Ellison,
Rider.
maybe the
Oh,
biggest
the-
upset of
that-
the year, beating
the guy
Robert
that
Parker
is Ghost
to get this.
Rider. Okay.
Yeah, he is
That's
the
right,
Ghost
Christian.
Rider.
That's not even a discredit to Chance.
Did you pause it, or is it frozen?
Believe in that kid
Oh,
for a lot of matches.
it's going for
but
me.
when
I
you
think
look
it
at
might be
Robert Parker,
frozen
he
for
was
you,
kind of the golden goose.
'cause it's going
Now
for
that
me.
that's off the table.Maybe you replaced a goose with some sort of weird rodent named Elvis, and that would be in the Barbarian's favor. But Chance,
I gotta
always
know,
look like a study
if
partner all the
Elvis
time.
decided
His
to, like,
manager,
crawl
he's
away
looking up to him.
and find a
Yeah,
new home.
They've always believed in Chance, and hard not
What?
to.
What would that? Would you find another Elvis? Would you find like an Elvis sibling to hop on your shoulder, or would you be like, no, Elvis?
For a long time.
No.
I've really kind of grown my own Elvis here. See, I got my own like.
You can make it, absolutely. Yeah.
Did really well for his first match, but he lost the match. He lost a few really hard
Does
matches.
Elvis? Has Elvis been
Very close against
keeping you on point and
really
studying
good
and everything?
in his first
Yeah,
interview.
we had a little bit of a falling out a couple weeks ago, but we're back on the same page.
Runner-up,
We're
two only Brandon had
we're-
at that time.
we're
He
watching about
out-lasted
5 movies a
number
day,
one
and
contender. And he's a
it's been
younger-
we're really diving into it. We're watching all genres. We're
Run
watching
right now for
everything.
the year. He's making a run right now for Innergeekdom player of the
Especially
year.
going
He's
into
making a run
singles,
for that
all genres, all
He's doing a
things.
lot right now, and you can see how people could be high up on Chance.
Yeah, now look, but if you look at the tournament landscape, I think that's something that might.
Did
slightly
Christian get a
favor
new
Chance
camera?
because I feel
He
like
looks like
Chance
you got a new
has
camera.
more
He looks,
experience
I don't want to say
being
he He looks good. I don't know if it's like
No.
It looks like higher definition to me.
or like maybe
Ellison
it's a filter.
getting thirsty. Yeah, what's in that coffee Jameson there?
I don't know that Chance or anybody else.
I was
Ladies
like,
today are
what do you
always
think,
thirsty. It's
Christian?
fine.
Can I have some of that? Christian looks like he's glowing a little bit.
Yeah,
And I'm a little jealous.
I just said he had a better camera.
He looks smooth. He looks so smooth. I want to know his secrets. As an esthetician, I want to know his secrets.
Ellison, who, like you said, has been in this game for a little while, but the Barbarian has this thing about him where people, they fear him already. He has.
So it's funny. So the video itself is freezing for me as well. So it's funny.
A lot of
Oh, no.
It's okay. I've already seen it. So
Okay.
people went, uh-oh, this guy's for real. This guy has been touted by not only, we've seen people tout it before. We've seen people going, oh, this guy's going to be the greatest players ever. He's going to be the next champion. And normally you get Roca, who says, yeah, well, let's see what happens once he gets slapped in the mouth. He loses his first match. And what happens? Even Roca is saying that this guy is the goods. So this could go either way here today. Both corruption and Finstock Exchange. This is massive for the Finstock Exchange to push away corruption, who's making a serious run after Mike Kalinowski has also made it to the semifinals.
Yeah, both factions have a chance to make a very strong statement.
No, I do know. I mean, like we kind of mentioned with
we're not
Roca,
only going to be able to lift Finstock Exchange eye in the eye.
I do know that several competitors within your faction have mentioned that you are someone you have to really work with when it comes to training and expanding knowledge. Is that right?
Because he
someone, sorry, I couldn't hear what you said, ladies.
A lot of the other competitors in your faction, they actively work with you as far as expanding your knowledge and everything. I mean, their knowledge here. So it's not, and I don't want to say it's unusual to have that relationship.
And honestly, it's less about my knowledge, more about me helping them and helping them find ways that their brains work better.
Over. Not only do we have.
Do you mind me asking how you do that?
Right around the corner.
Or is that like top secret stuff? Is that Schmominati stuff right there?
It's, well, first of all, we're not clearly we're not the Schmominati.
Number one contender match.
Or are we?
John Roca and big time Ethan Irwin.
I would say
down. Make sure you can get it at the Schmodown Live.
I tailor it by person, really.
Today.
I just try to see. Because everybody learns differently, right?
Today at the $10 tier, so you can get
what
that match.
helps them learn, and
it is time to
see what I'm styles to learning some of that information. Then,
yeah, I mean, there's. I use several different styles. I mean, like Bateman himself.
Barbarian and Robert Parker. It's
on my face. Sorry, I got excited.
You just said it.
Ooh, add in just a few seconds.
I'll be prepared for it.
Oh, here, after the ad, rewind it to the beginning because you really want to. This is, in my opinion, some of the best work I've ever seen Nerd Chronic do. So I once this ad is done, can I rewind it to before the ad, like the beginning of the promo, and just all the way through because Nerd Chronic really outdid himself here, I think.
Do you want to go back and? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It gives me the goosebumps.
The goosebumpies. Yeah.
Yeah, the goose pimples.
Barbarian shoulder or the dead badger on top of my head right now. We're about to find out.
I think it looks pretty amazing. And before we find out and go to the story here to let you guys know,
what is he doing?
Almost at its end. However, the season is long but over. Not only do we have the big singles tournament coming up right around the corner on July 31st. That's right, July 31st.
I'm so excited for Throwdowns
and Patreon first.
Oh, also my prediction for the undercard, I got Final Exam over Deep 13. No offense to Deep 13, but just I think that Lon and Oyama complement each other's knowledge so well.
They balance each other so well.
Yeah. I also am really curious.
I'd love to be in a team like that.
Yeah.
It is time.
You might. You probably will be in a team like that. You never know.
Here we go.
All right, here's the promo, guys.
Robert Parker is going to take over the Rookie of the Year conversation.
Robert Parker going to give me so many points. Come on, Parker.
Barbarian and Robert Parker is a match that I never knew that I wanted until you just said it.
Oh, you were expecting someone else, weren't you?
So good.
My
my choice for Rookie of the Year in 2020 is this kid, Robert the Spider Parker.
I heard that. I disagree with it.
It's also kind of funny because Chance was that exact same situation the year before.
Most people thought I wasn't going to win. But you know what? Most people didn't need to think I was going to win. My entire faction had faith in me. I worked hard. I wanted it. And I came in and I executed.
Well, I'd hate to say I told you so. Just kidding. It's my favorite.
That's not correct. You got the dungeons number. We did it again. Sit down and shut up.
Chance to the Barbarians. How do you feel?
About the who?
Well. Once again, we find ourselves in the Cavern of Broken Dreams.
Cavern of Broken Dreams. I love it.
Boxes I hold the dreams and wishes of my fallen competitors.
We had one special box that we'd written out with the name Robert Peter Parker. It's going to be the prize of our collection. Only someone stole that dream from us. So instead, we get you, son of L.
I just can't bet against a Barbarian. The man is a monster. He's a machine.
Yeah, another really hyped up rookie for this year. I'm starting to see a pattern in my matches.
It almost doesn't seem like he has a weakness, and that's terrifying.
He's performed adequately. Yeah, that's not a slight against him. He just hasn't been in a position where he's had to perform incredibly impressively. Here's your chance. Literally.
Chance. You probably watched the Star Wars tournament and saw Ace Cabrera go on his Cinderella story.
Oh my gosh.
Fun, I'll do one of those on my own.
I literally, I almost cried. I was just like,
sun's going down. It's getting late. The clock's about to strike midnight. It's your little Chance Ellison.
do you feel like as a competitor, because it is so different, it's harder to study for IG or harder for singles?
Is going to be anywhere near as easy as it was.
I mean,
I'm freaking. You're mistaken.
There's going to be more ramp up for IG.
Join the showdown this season. So we took
when I
up the
came,
last offer to play him in singles, and he TKO'd my girl Williams. Needless to say, I'm not very happy about that. Revenge is in the air. And today, the Barbarian is going to get a taste of what it feels like to be on the loser side.
So, I mean, nobody can compete in IG without studying. But there are people that compete in singles without studying. So, and there are high level players who compete without studying. And go to commercial. And
I like this commercial though.
Corona.
I know that humility is my strong suit, but like before joining the league, I watched
big story, Mark. When you look at all that,
watched most of the old matches. I found that I was able to compete at a championship level in singles without prep, but I also for Innergeekdom I said, okay, I could be like a mid-level Innergeekdom player without prep, but in order to really contend, I need to do a ton of study.
Yeah. He looked scary. He looked like a damn cobra.
But you're not kidding. A lot of people can be a casual competitor within singles or maybe teams, but when it comes to being a real, to be a contender really in IG, you got to study.
Yeah,
you do.
Absolutely.
You say, oh, he's going for a rebound today.
Oh, we have someone that just popped up in the chat. Wow. Oh.
Well, we're going to find
this one. Interesting.
She is the manager of production. She is Shannon Barney and
hi,
one of her
Shinominati.
rivals, the one and only Bobby Gucci. You too. Here you go. So Shannon, it looks like it's Kaiser and Dagnino back and forth. You have pretty much, I think, gotten rid of Kaiser. You have won the war against the dungeon.
With Gucci being such an iconic manager that he is, literally award-winning manager, arguably the best manager of all time.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you because that was a lovely
your
compliment.
favorite part of having him as a manager for you?
Secondly, here we go.
He's very hands-on. Yeah, that's I think some people will be
the
surprised to hear
Barbarian
that. But no,
my
we
girl
talk before
we
matches, we talk in between matches.
I gotta admit,
we talk about where we are in the standings. We talk about
that's the
what
one
we
time
need to do to win.
So I'm very excited.
And we talk about the strategy for the match itself. We talk about
pretty here. in
we
first
just
place,
talk about a lot.
but
For me
right
personally,
on your
I've
spoken to you on the phone
we
about
especially
this.
early on talked a lot
They
about
are a credible threat. You wouldn't be a good manager if you looked around
Yeah,
and
it's
said,
also that, especially as a rookie, that must be amazing to have that hands-on
match here
manager.
with
If you were an
Barbarian,
established competitor that's been around for a handful of seasons, you wouldn't need that guidance as severely, probably. But as a rookie, I can only imagine how huge of an asset that is.
Oh yeah,
The only person after the
incredible.
draft
So they,
that I saw that could have
it would be
been
one.
right on our level
I have
is
ideas, but
corruption. Because
it
they
works
have
better
champions who
as
can
a
play IG,
in like a
also
dynamic
play regular.
fashion. It's
Same
like
thing as Kalinowski.
Yeah.
And they're
if you watch our
honestly,
season we
those are
do
two
together,
people,
Gucci and I
that's
are
all
just
she really
bouncing off
needs.
each other.
But
It's
then
kind
you
of
throw
like
Laura Kelly into the mix.
I've never taken an improv class. But it's very much
And
like
now they got
we
Hyatt.
yes and each other very
Look,
well.
Chance did something incredible on so many different levels.
So important.
Parker. I mean, Kaiser put all his eggs in
And
one
I'm
basket.
so jealous of that Capri
Unfortunately,
Sun
it didn't work out.
situation. Oh.
Very tasty. I'm not gonna lie.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, so yummy. It's so refreshing for summer.
Before I finish it, I'm gonna do another shot. And I'm gonna.
When it comes to handling pressure,
You're just getting emotionally prepared for karaoke tonight. So I got you. I got you.
Take another shot with me.
Oh, I don't have it on hand. Lucas, can you bring me, if you're in the chat, can you bring me my alcohol?
Bring your woman booze, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, look, our faction was very light on IG.
And I actually mean like alcohol, not like.
Yes, Dan said he was going to come play, but he's got other obligations.
Just to clarify.
Emily
Sorry
obviously,
for the bad joke.
didn't shine like we thought she would. I mean, no offense to her, she played
And
great.
we
It's just
appreciate
she
it,
ran up
Alex.
against better competitors. Barbarian, I was looking for another person to enter the tournament, and he was like, I'm in for the faction, whatever the faction needs. And this man, who is a genius in regular trivia,
who else did you talk to? What other managers did you talk about?
I'm not gonna reveal that online because I've specifically said that to people. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But there were other managers I spoke to before Dagnino, and they just kind of blew me off. So Dagnino was the first one who actually took me seriously. There we go.
It's way more than that.
Mistakes have been made.
Yeah, mistakes have been made.
Oh my god.
Into toothpaste.
Man, I love hydrogen peroxide toothpaste.
Yeah.
Right?
Favorite.
Toothpaste is so good.
I love it.
Wrong answer.
But I'll also say it's like people who complain about look, Ethan talked me up in the Facebook group the week of the draft, and in the week of the draft, Bateman on SCN Live asked Christian about me on air while both Roxy and Winston were in the room. And Christian talked me up there on SCN Live. And while I was in the while I was in the draft, I was sitting with Ethan, who got drafted by Robert Byer Burnett in the first round. He was, Ethan was telling RMD that he should draft me also. So, there were plenty of people who were told.
Sleep this.
All right. Well, thank you to both and Barney and Bobby.
So that's why I'm going
Good luck to both of you.
drink this shot in honor of Tom Dagnino.
Alex Damon.
Invisible shot.
Which will air tomorrow.
I'm sure it's
typical Lucas.
It's coming somewhere.
Hey, Jake, it's National Tequila Day.
Yeah.
No, this is a match, man. I mean, you look at these two guys. This is going to be something.
It's already getting testy, Christian. I don't think the managers like my question very much. But look,
Salute!
how much pressure are these guys feeling right now? We're about
It's on the chair. There's a compliment on my Hulk t-shirt. I'm trying to see what it was again.
And Christian, your golden throat.
Starger, thank you for the compliment. I do enjoy that shirt quite a bit.
For the movie trivia Schmodown. Introducing first, representing.
I'm still bummed you can't buy faction shirts anywhere. Like, I want a Finstock Exchange shirt so bad.
Why can't we? Is the real question.
I might start making my own Barbarian shirts. So there's the
Elvis.
Yes.
This
I'm really curious if you can, if you're allowed to do that. I'm saying like I have no clue. I know there were before it became like Schmodown official. A fan made Rachel Silver Spooning Switchblade t-shirt a while ago, and I haven't seen them in a long time. But, yeah.
With Gucci back last season. You guys have had this
relationship.
You said to him,
I was hoping Eric would edit that out, but apparently not.
He benefited.
I respect that. I respect that.
Points. You played in singles.
How many shirts like that do you have? Like I
Elvis needs a shirt.
T-shirts.
Yeah, and now
oh my gosh,
Well,
Elvis needs
how
a
are you
t-shirt.
feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. I've gotten myself into my kitchen. We're so close to the end of the tournament.
And yes,
So
I want
hungry
all
for
the
that
shirts.
victory.
I have, I
felt
think, 16
there's no better
Schmodown related
place to
t-shirts,
play
and that's not
than in
enough
here.
anymore of them.
I demand pictures. I refuse to believe you have 16
I'm pretty sure.
pictures.
It's been a while since I counted them,
It was no
but
surprise to me.
it's double digits
Very familiar
for
with
sure.
what he can
I am
do.
bam girl. Get it. I have like maybe 5, maybe not, and they're like live event specific.
French word for winning.
Winning.
Chance's last name is son of L. That's the opposite.
All right.
I love that. Did you come up with that yourself?
Your kitchen. That looks
course.
like a KitchenAid X22.
I was working at different ways to work that, and I thought about it as like, you know, you can take a chance, but at the end, you're gonna take your L, son.
A little nervous to be in the presence.
I like it. I really do.
One who you're competing against, or maybe even who is in your humble abode with you. But when you and Elvis look at your last match, you, by your own admission, said wasn't your smoothest ride.
Yeah,
Wasn't your best
that was
played
like
match.
way back,
So
you know,
do you
with-
think
they're
that's
just doing
gonna
T-Public. I
continue
have a
looking for
corruption
sort of
shirt.
a revenge, just on a personal level?
But yeah, that's the only one that you can get still. Actually, the dungeon might be there too.
Question. Okay, Craig. Now I know obviously a lot of competitors were like, like you said as well, included. You were almost preparing for Parker,
It's going to be a
not Chance, going into this initially.
All right. Well, there he is.
Was that case? I mean, like, were you like prepping? Were you studying
Barbarian
according
gonna
to
drop out
his
here in
strengths and weaknesses and everything, or in once Chance?
I knew whoever I would face in this match wouldn't have any discernible strengths and weaknesses, other than the ones that everyone's weak at. There are some categories that everyone's weak at.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to say too much to give too much away, but there's some ones that just people struggle with across the board.
No joke.
Former movie trivia Schmodown Teams Champion, the Cobra.
Okay, outside of the Finstock Exchange, which is your favorite Schmodown theme song?
There's your spider now.
Swag drip drip. I mean, come on, whose isn't swag drip drip? By the way, that was my theme song. No, that's not the Finstock Exchange's theme song. That's my theme song.
Yes, I love your. It's so good.
You've seen it. You saw the
That's a
response.
Barbarian theme song.
And I know
David B is a masterpiece.
It's
so good.
I have some people giving a lot of credit for the victory.
It's
How
so
was
good.
that victory against Parker?
I'll tell you what, I rode high for about a day after I beat Parker. Right after that, it's back to work because I knew that he was the one to beat the Saturday tournament, but I knew I couldn't get complacent. I knew I had to keep working, so I was right back watching movies, questions, and just prep this match because I want to go all the way.
I just gotta say, I wonder if it's
two movie posters now.
true that Chance is pretty much Mike Kalinowski's first IG mentor. If that makes sense. Obviously,
Drew and Janine the Machine, so far as I'm aware, have their own merch. So they sell.
I'm not scared of the Barbarian. I'm not
We
scared
lost
of anyone.
him.
Like you
we
said,
lost him. He's gonna come back. He's gonna come back,
We're
guys.
seeing the results of that now because right now I'm playing at the top of my game.
Hard to argue that. The battle-tested Cobra here.
But what do you think about that, Kelsey?
And one going up against the Barbarian sitting at 2-0.
Welcome
All right,
back.
so we're just going to drop you out here
No,
for
I'm
a
back.
moment.
Yeah.
Internet space.
Virtual arena mark. How does round number 1 go?
That's right. It's a cobra and a mongoose, kind of. I'm not sure what Elvis said. Rudyard Kipling would be proud. And now we move on to the rules of round number 1. You're going to have 10
I know.
Innergeekdom goodness.
I know the screen situation is not crazy strong right now, guys. So please be forgiving with us. And we're having some internet issues. We apologize, but things happen. What are you going to do? We hope you can be satisfied with our beautiful faces tonight.
Tablet with whatever utensils you have handy to your camera.
The internet is having some internet issues also.
That's
You know,
Rodent.
you know that there is also in addition to being a shortage of internet bandwidth, There's a shortage of soda
A shortage of what?
Soda cans. Since the pandemic began, soda can purchasing is up 30%. So these soda companies have had to cut back on their non-primary things. So you can't get Diet Dr. Pepper or Cherry Coke Zero in the stores anymore.
Sorry, there's a Cherry Coke Zero. That's a thing.
There's a lot of flavors.
What?
There's like all kinds of flavors. There's like vanilla orange, diet vanilla orange. Like there's tons of flavors of Diet Cokes and Cokes and things.
Plays Sharon Carter in Captain America: Winter Soldier?
First I've ever heard of it.
Good question.
I've heard of like vanilla Dr. Pepper. My grandma lives in Azle, Texas, where it's like Dr. Pepper country. She lives like an hour and a half away from a Dr. Pepper factory, and so it's everywhere. But
hands down, and we start
like
with
small flavors.
Emily Van Camp.
Yes, Barbarian.
Emily Van Camp.
Yes,
Uh-oh,
it is.
guys.
1-1. All right, Mark. Next
Unless this
question.
accidental outage be a warning to you all.
Oh, that's cute.
You're next.
That's cute, Shmominati.
World of Star Wars.
I like Cherry Coke. Well,
Galaxy, not
I only
supposed to
drink
hear
Diet
it.
Coke
Good
now, but I
question.
used to like Cherry Coke.
The characters.
I only like Cherry Coke when
I don't see any.
eating Jimmy John's.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's it. That's no. Otherwise, I don't drink it. That's it. It's like my go-to
Okay.
drink whenever I go to Jimmy John's. Exclusively. It's weird.
Okay.
So this question here.
Do you want me to pause it? Let's talk about it.
I knew that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you'll see. Well, just let it play out. Don't pause it yet. Play it for a little bit longer.
Actually, you didn't. You went
You'll
to
notice.
math answering the question.
Can I get a repeat?
Notice
of
that
the
you have
question?
to use a JTU.
Okay. Using a
You
JT.
certainly may. Barbarian / Elvis. In the category of Star Wars, the characters Chancellor Valorum, Captain Tarpace, Co. Bibble, and Obi-Wan Kenobi appear in which Star Wars film?
Can you spell Captain Tarpace?
Certainly. Tarpais.
Okay.
Could be Tarpace.
All right, so let's pause it right here.
Okay.
What's going on with
So-
this, Craig?
Well, so at the end of the day, this question has no correct answer because there is no character named Captain Tarpace. What this question is supposed to be is asking about Captain Tarpoles, who is a Gungan captain in the army, and is a character I'm very familiar with. But there are so many little-known characters in the other films, and of the characters listed here, we got Co. Bibble and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who are in all three of the prequels, and now Chancellor Valorum is only in Episode 1. However, I was familiar enough with Phantom Menace, which is the correct answer, to know that Chancellor Valorum's in the Phantom Menace. But I'm also familiar enough with the Phantom Menace to know that there's nobody named Captain Tarpace in the Phantom Menace. So when they initially said Chancellor Valorum, I wrote down Phantom Menace, and then he says Captain Tarpace. I was like, who the F is that? Am I allowed to curse on the show? I feel like I always have to
Go
ask
for
that.
it.
Yes?
Yeah.
Can I curse?
Go
You guys are
ahead.
frozen.
Yes.
You guys are frozen.
Curse away.
I want to start cursing if we okay, we're all frozen now. I blame the Shmominati. There we go. All right, you're unfrozen now. Am I allowed to
Yes, you
curse?
can. Yes.
Curse away, man.
All right, good. So they say Chancellor Valorum. I start writing the Phantom Menace, and he says Captain Tarpace, and I freeze for a second. I was like, who the fuck is that? And my initial thought is, did he misread it? Is it Captain Tarpoles and he misread it? Which is why, I'm because I'm also analyzing the thoughts. There's I start to second guess myself. I was like, is Chancellor Valorum also in like a small scene in Episode 2 that this random Captain Tarpace is also in? Because again, I know that Captain Tarpace. There's no Captain Tarp. There are two characters of the rank of captain in Episode 1, Captain Panaka and Captain Tarples. And so Shmominati. Anyway, point is that I'm, it's the point is there's no correct answer because of the name Captain Tarpace is not an actual character. And why is Tarpace correct? Now I did get the answer correct, but as you notice, I burned a JTE rule on it, and that's one of a total of 3 JTE rules you get for an entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And in a high stakes game like this, they're very valuable to have.
Yes.
Anyway,
So,
and I did confirm with
were you tempted to challenge it if that's the case? To reissue for a new question or anything?
Well, at this point, I mean, here's the thing. At this point, I didn't know for certain. And again, it's like, you know, it's not like I have something I can be checking on in between questions to like confirm my suspicions. And so I'm pretty sure that what this is, like what I have to do, like after he, you know, says it twice and spells it and it's not misspelled, like it's not that he's mispronouncing it. So, and again, it's like, you know, I've been watching this Star Wars tournament and there's like a bunch of random ass characters I've never heard of, you know, exactly. So it's like, maybe there was a Captain Tarpace. Yes. General Grievous kills Captain Tarpace. Oh, General Grievous kills Captain Tarpace. Oh, was that in the TV series? Oh, well, it's not that sad. He's a Gungan. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not racist against Gungans. I love all Gungans. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, point is, no, I mean, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, I should have challenged, and instead of asking for a new question, asked them to give me my JTE rule back because I get the answer right. We both get the answer right.
Yeah.
But it's like, had I realized, well, I suspected that it was a misspelling, but didn't get it confirmed until after the match. Because again, there's just so many Star Wars characters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's a very valuable JTE rule that I lose here for an incorrect question.
Okay, well, I got a few more questions about that whole situation, but we're going to talk about that after this.
Yeah.
All right, ready to go play?
Of course, the Schmalminati would say Gungan lives matter.
Very good character.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, please. We start with Barbarian.
Went with the Phantom Menace.
That's correct. Chance.
The biggest letdown of 99, the Phantom Menace.
That was also correct.
I was
All right,
9 and
next
Phantom Menace came out, and
question.
I loved it.
Next
but
question,
I
question
was also
3. This
9.
is Middle Earth.
No, I don't even know. It's like I shook my head
What
there
is the
after that,
name
like I'd
of
gotten it
Bilbo's
wrong because I
home
was so pissed that I
within Hobbiton
had to go
in
through
the
all
Middle
that
Earth
to get the
series?
answer right. You know, it's like
Oh,
Absolutely,
You
that would be
know,
frustrating.
Biggest letdown,
really,
1999
you
for
can
me.
tell a lot
Was not real.
just from listening, like from reading the body languages and listening to the intonations of the
Not real at all.
players. Like
Mm-hmm.
you heard me, it says like I went
Three,
with the
two,
Phantom Menace, which meant that I wasn't
down
100% on it.
and
It being the
chance.
correct answer.
Bag end.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Well, after you,
Mr. Barbarian.
okay, so I do want to mention
Yes,
Salvador.
Barbarian.
We already know the
Three,
answer. We're already good
three.
here. That's why we're
Next question,
comfortable breaking down this match with
I
Greg.
like ends
So
that
no
begin
worries
with
and
bag.
spoilers
Your next
there. But
question
everyone
is
else,
the world of
obviously,
DC
if you're in the
movies
chat, you
and
know,
your query therein.
you know what you're getting into.
2006 DC film features the line, "People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people."
Oh, snap.
Knowing how
Rings true with each passing year.
how you were with that question too.
The
How
reason I
did
didn't
you
answer
feel
your
going
question
into the rest?
Because you didn't know the answer.
No, because you were
I
gonna-
shook it off. And, can we pause this here? Real quick?
Three.
Absolutely.
Three questions.
So first off, I want to answer Tricky the Treats question here, which is, so that board, so I didn't have a whiteboard at home. I don't, it's not something that I knew that I was going to need, and so I just asked for a friend of mine if he had a whiteboard, and he just brought me his 5-year-old's whiteboard that he had at
Love
home.
that.
And I figured it was, I thought it was a good look. I thought it went well with the character.
Love it.
And so, if we rewind, can we rewind this to the beginning of this question real quick? I just want to.
Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see if I can get it right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're good there.
Okay.
Because you didn't know the answer.
No, because
you got to rewind a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt so proud when I knew this answer right away because this is a father-daughter movie.
Yes.
So I know this movie inside and out.
Three.
My dad.
I don't remember it very well.
But now watch this right here.
It's in the world of DC movies.
So watch when
And
I start
you're clearly
writing.
therein. What 2006 DC film features the line, "People
pause
should
it
not
right
be
here.
afraid of their governments. Governments should be."
So as soon as they said what 2006 DC film, there is only one film listed on the internet as being a DC film in 2006, and that is Superman Returns. So I'd already written Superman Returns before they read the quote.
Yeah.
Now, the the quote itself. Now let's hit play. I'm writing down Superman Returns,
People.
and now they
snap.
say the quote.
Yeah, rings
And
true
you see me
with
grimace.
each passing year.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because
The reason I didn't answer your question.
because I hear that quote and I'm like,
No, because you were gonna. What if we asked that later?
yeah, I'm grimacing
4,
very hard here. And
3.
let's
You
pause
get 3
real quick
questions
here.
to-
1.
So essentially here, here's the issue.
Mhm.
So the answer everyone knows at this point is V for Vendetta. And I hear the quote and I say, well, this sounds like V for Vendetta, but that's not 2006. And I, think to myself, could it have been something that is said in Superman Returns? And I say, well, it does kind of sound like something that Lex Luthor may have said, and I consider using a JTE rule, but I'd already burned one 2 questions ago, and I didn't want to burn 2 JTE rules in the first 4 questions.
Yeah.
And so I have to just go with what I've written down and just end up with, Superman Returns. And it's incredibly frustrating. And the reason why I felt so conflicted is not only if you go on IMDb, does it say it's 2005? If you go on Wikipedia, it says it's 2005. If you Google 2005 films, V for Vendetta is the second film that's listed.
Mhm.
But in the film itself, which I just watched a couple days prior, they make reference to the fact that the film may have been released in 2005 by virtue of the film is about the Guy Fawkes blowing up Parliament, which happened in 1605. And in the film, they say 400 years later. So while I'm watching it, having seen it listed as 2005 everywhere, and heard them say, I used that as a point to memorize the year of the Guy Fawkes thing is 1605. It's like, oh, it was 400 years before the film came out. So in this moment here, again, it's almost like very similar to the first round. It's like, well, I know Chancellor Valorum's in this movie, but there's no Captain Tarpace in this movie. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I know that Superman Returns came out is the only DC film for 2006, but this sounds like a V for Vendetta quote. And, at this point, I don't have the time. I'm not going to burn get myself down to 1 JTE rule in the first round, 4 questions in. And, at the end of the day, what the reality is that V for Vendetta is listed as 2005 everywhere because it premiered at the Butt-Nummathon Film Festival in 2005, but then had its theatrical release in 2006. I should also point out briefly, part of the reason why the verbiage is in the film about it, relaying it to being 2005 is because the film was supposed to come out in 2005 and it got delayed to 2006. So all those factors come into play in this answer here. At any rate, now I will, and here's the thing. I'll say right now, the second question of this game was an incorrect question. This question is technically not incorrect, but it is problematic. It's problematic because, and by the way, had this been a studio match, yeah, exactly. IMDb says the 2005 date, yes. But if you look at the top of Alan Smithy, if you look at the top of the IMDb page, people don't go and scroll down to the literal release date when they look for the year the film came out. They look at the very top of the page. It's like in the fine print at the bottom that says exactly what date. We don't click on the exact day and month that the film came out. You look at the top. And if you go to, again, and look, and this question isn't incorrect, but it's problematic because the film is listed everywhere as a 2005 film. And had this been a studio match, Founding Fathers, because I spoke to Founding Fathers after this match, and they were both irate that this came up because they had in a match of their own, I believe it was their title match in Orlando last year, successfully challenged V for Vendetta in a release dates category as being a 2005 film. So they specifically, like when I told them that this happened,
So there's precedence for it too.
They were irate that this is still happening, that the release date of it is being shown up, because you have to, like, well, yes, IMDb is tricky. So is Wikipedia and Google everywhere. It is released as like a Vertigo / DC property. It is listed as a DC property. So it wasn't whether or not it was a DC property that confused me. It was whether or not it was in 2005 or 2006. And when I speak to Gucci in between rounds, you'll hear me specifically tell him that. But of course, I don't have a chance to check myself to verify at this point whether or not the film came out in this year. Yes, and as Malcolm is saying right now, so I look, this actual match, and again, right here, what Malcolm's saying, that PJ's saying they're going by wide release in US, that's not the right way to do this either. And we're gonna, this is gonna be an ongoing discussion. Mm-hmm. If you go by wide release in the US, guess what year that makes 1917? That makes 1917 a 2020 film. Even though the film was a 2019 Best Picture nominee, its wide release was January 10th of 2020.
That's true about tons of Oscar movies.
Exactly. And I had a conversation with PJ earlier this week because I was rewatching the Merle Guy match, and they talk about what 2012 film was Gary Oldman nominated for Best Actor for. And I was like, well, that's not right, because Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which is a 2011 film. But that's the same situation where it was limited release in 2011 as an Oscar qualifying run, and then had a wide release in 2012. And it's listed as 2011 everywhere, but because this wide release was 2012, they listed 2012 there. And honestly, Andrew Guy got that question wrong, and he could have challenged it, and I believe challenged it successfully, because the answer he gave was The Dark Knight Rises, which was a Gary Oldman 2012 film. And he only said, it's one of these things where, like, I'd be curious, and I'm sure the Schmominati's had a hand in this, going back, there are plenty of examples of movies where the release is confusing. Travis is asking if I think I would have won the challenge had I brought it up. I do think I would have won the challenge, because again, there's precedent of this being of the release date of this film being challenged.
Do you think? How do you think, or maybe I can say it for later, but how do you think competitors like Ben Bateman or other competitors that consider a movie release dates a strength, how do you think they're going to take this in consideration moving forward, given their knowledge base?
Well, again, so we don't have here's the thing, we don't have a rule book yet, and this rule is currently what they're doing. Yeah. And just because it's currently what they're doing doesn't mean it's going to be what's going to go moving forward. I would argue that the correct way to do it is the way the Oscars do it. Go by the earliest theatrical release date. IMDb is listing these wonky dates based on festival releases. Festivals are not theatrical releases. Yeah. And that's problematic. But they're like, and so for instance, Ben Bateman is, like myself, an expert in Oscar trivia. Mm-hmm. And so he would be irate if they start listing 1917 as a 2020 film. If they start listing Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy as a 2012 film. It's like if they start, it's like these, they need to go, the movie release dates should line up with what the, what the current precedent is of the movie industry, which is what the Academy Award, what the Motion Picture Academy uses. Just go with what they use. It's not that difficult. It's just the earliest U.S. theatrical release date. Doesn't have to be wide. They do limited qualifying runs. Because if you start getting all of us that study Oscar trivia, all of a sudden we're going to have to say, well, we know these ones were December movies that had their wide releases in January, so now all of a sudden American Sniper is going to be a 2015 film instead of a 2014 film, and it's like, it's just going to be nuts. It's going to cause so many more problems if they do this than what they were doing before. But as of now, it's like, following this match, honestly, and like what I've told Roca, it's like, look, in terms of movie release dates, like, treat it as a range, because even if you think you know the date might not be right, and it's insane that that's the case for now. But it's like, you know, there's, you know, until sense is made, that's what to do. If they had not given a date here, I would have said V for Vendetta. If they had given the date of 2005, I would have said V for Vendetta. But since they said 2006, before they even gave the quote, I wrote down the only 2006 DC film.
Mm-hmm.
But again, by the rule I just said, V for Vendetta should be considered a 2006 film. It's just that in my studying, I hadn't found that. And there are other films, even within the DC pantheon. And like earlier that day, I'd realized that Superman 2 falls under that category, because Superman 2 has 1980 listed as its date in IMDb, but it's a 1981 film. And I was just looking through my notes and saw that, but knew that I had a friend who's born the same year as I was, which is 1981, who for his birthday a few years back did a movie screening of Superman 2 because it was specifically released in the year of his birth. So I saw that and said, oh, this is released in 1981. Why is it 1980? And then I did a deep dive into the release date for that. But it's like, you can't go into a deep dive for the 214 films in IG, let alone for every film ever made, which the singles have to go into, you know? So there needs to be some sort of consistency here.
Well, I think
at any rate, but and unfortunately, I wish this could be the end of this conversation, but we get to talk about it more later in the match. So let's continue the match.
I am low-key excited this is happening. Because this event needed to happen within Schmodown. There are those very clear misunderstandings behind that, because I would have never recognized that in a million years. I am amazed that you were able to kind of catch that, you know, and other people as well. It's awesome to me. And, you know, I know the question writers, the amount of questions they work so hard putting this together. We are forever grateful.
No, and I want to say, and I also want to say briefly, I should have said this off the top of the show. Look, PJ and I have spoken at length directly after the match and since the match. And thank you, Shmominati. Let me do a toast to you. At any rate, let me as I pour this toast to the Shmominati. No, look. I have all the respect in the world for PJ. I love PJ. I think PJ does a great job. And, you know, PJ's already spoken on Facebook that following this match, they have made changes with the writing staff. Specifically, they've taken on an editor in order to avoid messes like this in the future. So, like, especially the Captain Tarples mess. The Captain Tarples mess should have never reached the air. Should never reach the questions, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so this is really what I'm used to in sports, is insane rules being captured and changed because I get screwed. Cheers to you, the Shmominati. Thank you.
I have a wee bit left in here. I have a smidgen.
Look, every drop counts, Alex. Every drop counts.
Yeah, every gag. Counts, I guess, too.
Yeah. By the way, I want to put Travis in the chat as saying that I should have used my challenger. And honestly, no, following this match, my biggest takeaway was that I should have used my challenge. Mm-hmm. And again, it's like, had this been a studio match, you know, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, look, in the studio matches, like, we're like, so many people are there throughout the day. And the rule about challenges in the studio match is like, you can't discuss challenging another faction's challenge for them. But you, within your own faction, you know, the faction manager is the one who makes the challenge, but they can consult with the other faction mates that are there. Mm-hmm. So had this been a studio match, Dagmean, like this question, Roka and Merle would have been all over this question. Because as soon as I mentioned this in the chat, they were irate. They were irate that this happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us how you really feel, Craig.
Give me a little more tequila and I will.
Maybe before we go
Happy
into
National
karaoke,
Tequila Day, everyone.
Happy National Tequila Day and
Happy Tequila and Karaoke Day. That's what's going to be later today on over at Video Drew's Twitter, whatever. Yeah. Oh, We're totally frozen.
There we go. Yeah. But no, I would say that this is the first time in the Schmoedown that my rookie status has actually worked against me, by virtue of my inexperience prevented me from challenging either of these questions. I was just so focused on the match and just assuming that assuming that. Not trusting my gut and not trusting what my brain was telling me that these things were incorrect.
Yeah.
And I should have trusted that, and I should have challenged both of these, but I didn't.
You'll know next time.
Learning experience.
No, exactly. Look,
learning experience.
And by the way, like you'll hear me talk about the issues with the match, but the one thing that I won't say is that I deserve to win this match because I made the mistakes. These were my mistakes. If I had issued the challenge and then the challenge been overturned, then I would have said, okay, well, then I would have taken issue. But the fact, I am taking issue with these being, with the questions either being questionable or incorrect to be corrected in the future. But I'm not saying I am accepting of this loss because it is my loss by virtue of then we'll get into some of the other things later on, but it's like it's my loss for not challenging, my loss for not trusting myself. And look, the other thing with these two questions, despite the incorrectness of question 2 and despite the problematic nature of question 4, it didn't face Chance. Chance got them both right, and there you go. So it's not, these weren't impossible questions to answer correctly, despite the problems with them. So, anyway, yes, please continue.
Hands down, please, and Barbarian.
Superman Returns?
That is incorrect, and Chance.
V for Vendetta.
Yes, Chance goes
Well,
by one.
You hear the questioning tone of my voice when I say that? It's like I don't think it's right.
To our next
But
question.
Yeah.
What do I trust? The release date or
in Fantastic Four?
Yeah, supposed to be
2015,
iffy.
which of the Fantastic Four members does not teleport to the newly discovered dimension and is responsible for bringing the others back alive?
But fun fact, this
put
is
this
the
movie
worst
on later.
entire
No?
Innergeekdom division.
I've never seen it
You can
because
do
of
it.
that. I'm
It's
like,
on-
I
I
just
think it's
don't
on Disney Plus.
want to sit and watch it.
Don't try to sell me your wares, sir.
Like if you ask me, you asked me to rate any other Innergeekdom film against this film.
One,
This
hands
is
down, please, and Chance.
One small step for man. You just get our gamma farts. Sue Storm.
That is right. And Barbarian.
Invisible Woman, Sue Storm.
Yes. Okay, so Chance keeping his 1 point lead.
Parker
As we
actually,
say,
in a previous
score
match
here after 5
breakdown with
questions
him,
All
we
right,
did
this
it back
next
against
universe, I
Chance,
believe,
and he
available on
mentioned-
Hulu is
Well,
the
you're-
Wizarding
you're,
World.
you're
And
frozen. What did he say?
Oh,
In
and
Harry
he mentioned
Potter and
the
Chamber
IG movie he thinks is like
While at the
one of the
Weasley
worst.
household, it will
It's
be
like
the
it's
first
a
time
big
Harry
IG
travels
movie hot
to
take.
Diagon Alley
Man of Steel is just horrible.
I don't hate Man of Steel.
And he also thinks that Suicide Squad is vastly underrated.
No, you're not going to get that one right.
He also says that the Hobbit
And
trilogy is also very underrated. Actually, deserves
I agree that the Hobbit trilogy is underrated. I think that
Hands
Suicide
down, please,
Squad.
and Mr.
A
Barbarian.
friend of mine made it clear that he meant as an insult.
Blue powder is
that
correct.
the,
and
wait,
we have
can you
Chance.
pause this real quick? I just want to say.
Yes, that is correct.
So I watched the matches that aired. I wasn't participating in the chat. I was looking in the chat. And people were talking about like the spelling here. All right, so first off, this is a movie trivia showdown. We watch the movies. We're not supposed to read. We're not told to read the books. In fact, if you read the books, different things happen than what happens in the movies. But in terms of flu powder, like the way Chance spelled it, the way it's spelled in the books, but the way I spelled it is like a flue in a chimney. So I just assumed it was going to be a flue in a chimney. Anyway, not that spelling counts here, but
it's phonetically correct.
What'd you say?
It's phonetically correct.
It's not only phonetically correct. The word flue, spelled F-L-U-E, is part of a chimney.
Chimney. Yeah.
So that's why I put it. That's why I thought that's how it was spelled.
I just got a Wizarding World little lesson today.
No, that's how it's spelled in Wizarding. That's how it's spelled in Harry Potter. but they don't spell it like it's like the actual part of the chimney is spelled.
Mm-hmm.
So it would only stand to reason someone who, like, again, it's not like this is it's like, again, it's not like this word is ever spelled in the films. And it would only stand to reason. Yes, exactly, Malcolm. It's not a spelling contest. And again, it's not just that I spelled it like it sounds.
Yeah.
FLUE is an actual word that relates to chimneys. Anyway.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
And I want to take on something that Tachyon the Source is saying. Look, Catwoman is also one of the worst films in the IG, but what Fantastic Four 2015 has going against it that all the other IG films don't have is like it's not even so bad that it's good. Like Catwoman is just like over the top, ridiculous, insane.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Fantastic Four 2015 is just so boring and nothing happens, and what does happen doesn't make sense. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, I agree. I like a bad movie if it's got like some obvious, interesting reasons why it's bad, but if it's just boring, then
Punisher Warzone is maybe the most fun film in all of IG. I recommend everyone watch it.
Which Star Trek
Noted
next generation film features the tagline?
It's very gory though.
Future of the galaxy
that's fine.
and the survival of a race depend on an act of rebellion.
I'm a little annoyed by this question here,
Christian, I always
only
like to
because
rely on
I can
blue
tell in
powder
Chad's
after I
question that
manscape.
he didn't know the answer and was just guessing.
Say that.
I knew this answer. And I was like, God, it's like I wish he'd guessed incorrectly. Listen to his inflection here.
Look at that stroking of Elvis.
2, 1, pens down, and Chance Ellison.
Insurrection.
Insurrection is correct. And
yep, that was a guess.
Look at his face. Those sunglasses don't hide his surprise that he was correct.
Yeah.
The 1 point lead still.
But
We
no,
have
that's
7.
I'm a huge Trekkie. I went to a Star Trek convention.
That's perfect. If he remains perfect for 3 more questions, he's
I've
going
been
to have a bonus.
I've been a Star Trek fan
Yes,
before I was a fan of most of these.
Here we go with your 8th category.
Not kidding. I do want all y'all in the chat to let us know what are some of your IG movie hot takes. Like what's a bad quote IG movie that you really love, or vice versa, one that's really well regarded that you feel like is a real POS.
I love Suicide Squad. I said it. No doubt.
That's a great example.
I mean, I can't say much. I'm literally have Harley Quinn hair and
2, 1.
like down.
And I love that you love it. It's I mean, there's a lot of.
I know it's a bad movie. And not that I think it's great, but I still love it.
One of my friends posted this. He did it as an insight, but he says like if you don't care about the plot or character development, it's a really fun movie. And it's like actually, yes, no, exactly. It's just a fun. It's good performances, even by Jai Courtney, who's been awful in almost everything else he's ever done. And it's just like it's fun. It's not well made. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's fun.
I hate the third act. I don't always even watch the third act. I'll watch like the first 2/3. I'm like, I'm good.
4,
I don't need to keep watching.
2, 1. Pens down. Chance.
I have better stories elsewhere that I can go for if I want plot and substance and things.
Based on this quote for this question, reading it, I was like, is that Last Crusade? It sounds like something I'd hear in Last Crusade. And then I was like, wait, that movie was released in 89, I think. So definitely not that movie. What other movie?
Here we go.
1991, The Rocketeer.
Yeah. So who the heck
It's
knows
funny.
what the question is? So I'll just ask.
I forget if it already happened or if it's about to happen, but
A terminally wounded cop who returns.
Ellis talks about trying to figure out who the actor is from it. He keeps saying Campbell Scott.
Yeah.
Campbell Scott is the son of George C. Scott. He is not the lead of the Rocketeer. That's Billy Campbell.
Give away all the answers. 5.
I love George C. Scott. He's so weird, and I love him especially. They use not only his voice but his physical likeness as the villain in The Rescuers Down Under.
Oh yes, yes.
So good.
Do you know that? Wait. Oh Jesus! Of course, the Shmominati would be quite partial to X-Men 3.
Oh, God.
That's actually very on brand. So Shmominati will
on brand.
We did have someone send us a super chat. Thanks so much to Ryan Chandler. He says, "Hey, thank you so much. Much love. Hey, Call to Action and Barbarian. Listening to Craig talk Schmodown is riveting. Your true champion. Hi, Kelsey and Alex. Happy Friday."
So now we get into round
Thanks for
number
helping out.
2. How do those rules work?
Thank you.
I think Scott Campbell went quarterback, actually.
I-
Anyway, round
yeah.
number 2.
I don't hate like Green Lantern. Oh.
So, fun fact about Green Lantern: do you know that in Green Lantern, Angela Bassett plays the same character that Viola Davis plays in Suicide Squad, except her character in Green Lantern is a scientist and not a shady government agent.
I didn't notice that.
Yep, they both play Amanda Waller.
Amanda Waller.
I
Wow.
had no idea. That's
Angela Bassett is
fantastic.
Amanda Waller in Green Lantern.
We'll give you 4
I
options.
haven't seen it, but I knew she was in it.
At that point, evaluate the
Okay,
question.
I love that. Malcolm says, I think Batman Forever is better than 89 and Returns. Whoa,
Nope.
that is a true
Malcolm.
dark take. That is a real
That's
hot
only
take.
something that somebody that has winter in the summer and summer in the winter would think.
You know what? I'm like really, really here for that hot take. I don't agree with it, but you know what? By golly, I respect it.
Here's my hot take. Val Kilmer is by far the worst Batman.
Spin or defer? Here we go.
I'm not a fan of Val
Chance,
Kilmer
you're doing
Batman.
amazing. You already know. You don't need me to tell you that.
I'm not a fan of Clooney either. Like, to me, they're kind of.
This is your round. Let's
Clooney
hear
to me is probably the worst.
I think it's my
But I
mood.
get fun with it, though, you know?
All right, so Chance is
It's
going
Clooney's got a campiness to him. That's like where it's kind of like it's such a joke that maybe possibly he's in on the joke, so that it's slightly enjoyable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Ben Rayner says, I have fun with Fantastic Four from 05 and Silver Surfer in Novus 07. Yeah, I respect that, Ben. Absolutely. Thank you
I
for
agree.
your donation.
Those are fun.
I agree. 07 isn't quite as good as 05, but 05 is 05 is a lot of fun.
Yep.
Thor Ragnarok is the best MCU movie. That's not a hot take.
I mean, it's a hot take, but I would say I would put
heroes and villains.
I would
Heroes and
put
villains.
You got this.
All right,
Listen
so-
to the whole question.
All right. Chance, you're
Also,
gonna
Tank Girl is secretly a masterpiece. That's not a secret. It is
If
straight
it's
up.
a secret, we need to fix that because
Yeah, I don't know anyone that thinks it's legitimately a bad movie. I don't.
that is
Like,
taken
honest
over
God.
the entire building.
I was really hoping that he'd try to do a miss at the 2 point here because I knew this one.
Is it A, Blood Brothers?
I have not seen
Like,
Dredd.
I have
somebody-
not seen Dread
like-
either.
Oh yeah, it's I prefer Judge Dredd to Dredd. You know that Dredd was written by Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina and Annihilation.
What?
Really?
What item?
I did not
does
know that.
Doc pack
that's pretty
because
awesome.
he's not
Yeah,
sure.
so on that Thor Ragnarok hot take, I would say Thor Ragnarok is the third best MCU film, only behind Infinity War and Endgame.
I don't feel like we can, like, if we're talking about the best MCU movies, I feel like we have to take out those two movies, though, because, like,
Why? Because they're the best. They're
no,
the best.
not that, because
Around.
yeah, we can't. It's like comparing. It's like comparing this small story to a massive story. It just doesn't compare. It's like apples.
But I mean, but it's better than Avengers: Age of Ultron, and it's better
It
than
is
the original.
vastly
Avengers.
better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's absolutely fair. Absolutely, I do think Ultron is underrated a little bit, but
Yes, 2 points.
not.
I
I
wanted 2
don't think
points. I would have got multiple choice for that Back to the Future one.
Superhero.
This one here I knew at 2 points too, which is why I do the. I knew Christian was going to get pissed at what I do here, but I had to do it either anyway because I wanted to rattle Chance here.
just saying, I was so excited watching this. I was like, oh, Kit Walker, Phantom, before it went there. So I was like, oh, I knew this.
Rocketeer. D,
Just
the
'cause I
Phantom.
have seen Phantom. Like I saw it for the first time in like years, like over Christmas, and I thought I loved that.
Barbarian.
The Phantom.
Oh, you got to listen to the whole thing. What superhero was the subject of a 90s movie?
You have to listen to say the whole thing again before you say what you just said. It's like okay.
C, the Rocketeer. D, the Phantom.
No,
The Phantom.
That is correct.
so
for
I
one
had
point.
I actually have
All
never
right.
seen the Phantom, but I tried to purchase it. But instead, the DVD that can you pause this real quick? I want to bring in a prop real quick.
Absolutely.
How?
All right, so one second, real quick. Let me show you guys.
I feel like this is like a one pointer. This question, just because it is like such a big moment.
Well, and also because it's been asked so many times. But like at the end of the day, look, it's a lot of questions have been asked previously. People who have been missing, so you can't just say that. And it is fair that this was asked because they told us that they would be able to re-ask any question previously. So I tried to buy the Phantom, and this is what I got. And then what this is a 2009 miniseries of the Phantom.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was on like the Sci-Fi Channel or something, right?
Exactly. And like I didn't realize my mistake until I got it. I couldn't find the actual film of the Phantom anywhere, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with this because I'm not going to watch this, but I did read extensively on it after I was trying to figure out what the hell I'd gotten.
It's so good. It's so ridiculous. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Christy Swanson are beautiful. Oh
I want to watch it. I tried to buy it. This isn't it, but I tried to buy it.
Do better, Craig.
No, like I'm trying. But
I gotta find that underground DVD market that apparently where you could.
Yeah,
totally. Gotta hear that Phantom.
I'm gonna go on eBay. I'm gonna go on eBay for it.
It's on Prime.
No, this is I was very disappointed when I found this. It's like, this isn't a movie; it's a miniseries. But I did, read about it just to figure out what the hell I bought, and in doing so, it talks extensively about Kit Walker and being like from Africa and all this and whatnot. And so it's like when that question came, I was like, "Oh, Kit Walker, that's the Phantom." At any rate. All right, you may continue. You may proceed.
Oh, did Henry Jones Sr. know that Elsa Schneider was a Nazi?
She talks in her sleep.
That is correct for 2 points. So Ellison battled through. Has a little bit of a rough
He's
second
doing a
round,
Sean
but
Connery
still multiple choice and proves himself with a 7-point
Good.
lead.
It was a
over
good. It was a good.
It was not bad.
Strong 7 points there for Chance. All right, Chance, going to drop you out here for a moment. Bring back Gucci. Gucci, you got 60 seconds to talk to the Barbarian.
Look at that Gucci first shirt, yo.
First of all, great first round.
Sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which year V for Vendetta came out, which is why I went with Superman.
No worries.
Returns.
Don't even worry about that. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
He got the category we wanted him to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened here. Huge steal.
Thank you.
Spin this wheel. Let's clean this category and go home.
Let's do it.
All right. That it? Wheels up. All right, Barbarian, get 2 potential spins here. Obviously, unless it hits opponent's choice on his first one.
Right, the screen is frozen on me, but so
there it goes. The Barbarian spinning with his mind.
Spinning. So it lands on MCU here, and I've again told you guys before the show. I've gotten a lot of flack from people for respinning, and I would like to say my piece on that.
I mean, we've seen what I can do with MCU before, but
okay. Would you like to say your piece?
We'll try a different one.
Yeah.
So pause it. Taking off the wheel for someone, so let's spin it again.
So, in my first match, when I here's the deal with MCU. MCU is like the deep, like it is the second deepest category behind Star Wars. Like the cuts in these movies. Unlike Star Wars, there are like twice as many films as there are in Star Wars. And the cuts are just as deep, right? There's 23 films versus 12 for Star Wars, and I took MCU in my first match against Adam Lovick because I knew he only had a handful of strengths and MCU was one of them, so I wanted to take that away from him. But at this point, it's like I didn't have to take it away from Chance because he'd already spun, and I had done such a deep dive on basically every other category, and I'd done like a deep dive. Like, look, I am an MCU stan. I mean, I don't know if you noticed the chair I'm sitting in.
Yes,
Captain America chair.
Captain America.
I can get you my. I can. Well, let me. Give me one. I will be right back in 1 second. You guys vamp. Talk to Elvis.
Hey, Elvis. So, what were your thoughts on the spin?
Oh my gosh, guys. We have an exclusive with Mr. Elvis. Elvis, I gotta know from here, sir. Tell me, how are you giving him the answers? I gotta know.
Is it telepathic?
Or what do you
Morse code? Like,
are you just like whispering sweet nothing in his ear, and it just comes out as the correct answers? Because we all know Kit Walker. That's a good one. Oh yeah. Kelsey. Yes. Isn't Mr. Elvis looking fine, sexy today?
Absolutely. I don't know what you're doing with your hair right now, but keep doing it. We like it.
So luscious. It's so luscious and soft. Oh my gosh. What are you feeding it? I gotta know. Elvis, what's your secret name for Craig? Oh, he's back.
How's everyone doing?
Yes! I love it.
You think I know a thing or two on the MCU? Do you think I may have watched these movies once or twice?
I think you've seen them. I think you've perused them a bit.
You think I may have waited in line for 30 hours to get to Hall H for Comic-Con last year to see the Phase 4 announcement? Yes, I know the MCU very well. And I should point out, I broke my gauntlet. I should point out that my first match against Lavic, I didn't miss a question at MCU, but the questions are so deep that I had to go to multiple choice 3 times. So I ended up with 7 points out of it. And I felt confident that I could get 10 points in several other categories. And I also felt confident that there was not a category out there that I would consider a weakness. So that's why I spun it down.
Absolutely makes sense.
Makes complete sense. Not only complete sense, it's smart that you went that route instead. And I feel like NC is very deceiving as a category as well, because like you said, there is so many movies, and I feel like everyone low-key thinks they're good at MCU.
So they pick it. So it comes up a lot.
Yeah. Because, everyone loves MCU. Who doesn't love the Avengers, all that good stuff? But at the end of the day, there's so much little deep dives. If you're good, if you aren't able to kind of take that route and really nail it, that's awesome. Good for you. But realistically, that's a lot of information. Yeah. So I don't blame you in the slightest, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, I had done a deep dive on the entirety of Phase 1, but I hadn't yet had a chance to do a deep dive on Phase 2 and Phase 3.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when I do a deep dive on these movies, it's like in order to appropriately study for a single MCU film, not MCU, it's for a single IG film. It takes me about 4 hours to watch the movie and to to take down all the information. And so, all these other wheel slices, there's 8 to 10 films. In an MCU, there's 23. And at the end of the day, it's like the ones that I like, the two, like I'm a Marvel stan, right? MCU and Marvel. So it's like what I'm really hoping for here is Marvel, because I'll answer the deep dive questions on Marvel movies all day long. But the MCU ones, it's like they go deeper and there's more movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I do.
Oh, and also I should talk about so I do spin, and I'm about to land on scores and soundtracks. And I don't want you to, you have to stop it again. One thing I'll say, look, Dagnino gets excited, and the reason he gets excited is because I told him before this that I had memorized every single composer to every single IG film. The problem was in the notes that I'd taken for Batman Begins, I'd only written down Hans Zimmer. And that's a mistake I made in January. And back in January, I began taking my notes on all films for singles, and that include one of the wheel slices that comes up frequently is Christopher Nolan. And so I was making my notes on Christopher Nolan films, and for some reason in January had looked at that and for some reason said that only Hans Zimmer was the composer. I'm not sure how or why I made that decision. That decision was made in January. But when I started studying for IG, I just copied my notes from January for the Batman films. And so this was a mistake I made in January that came to bite me in the ass in June or July. I forget when we taped this match. I think it was in June. It was in June. Anyway. All right, let's continue.
Go ahead.
All right, whatever
That
we get
is
here, we got to take.
Definitely. Look at that perfect spin, too.
All right, big spin right here.
I know, it's like
who's going to have the lead going into
they're like,
round
hey,
3,
spin. It's like,
gonna be
what do you want for
scores
us?
and soundtracks.
Scores
We
and-
like that. We like that.
All right, so we're going to drop out the.
Scores and soundtracks is also a
back.
very difficult category as
All right.
well. I am amazed with
I knew it was a very difficult category. That's why I studied
All right,
it.
Barbarian,
I figured
5
that
questions.
It would be the
in
most
scores
likely
and
thing that they would
soundtrack.
sit me
Mark?
with for.
All right, Barbarian. Like Christian said, your category.
And so I told him, I was like, I hope I land on opponent's
soundtrack.
choice, and he sits with the scores and soundtracks, and I just blow through it.
And question number 1. Hans Zimmer shared credit for the score of Batman Begins with which composer?
And you see my face, like,
Yeah.
I guess scores and soundtracks, like, all right, I got this. And then they ask this question, I'm like, are you
Multiple
fucking
choice.
kidding me? It's like, I
Is
don't
it
know
A,
this.
James Horner, B. James Newton Powell.
Now this one,
I'm not gonna lie, I did not remember this answer.
I did not know it.
so my logic in here was reversed because I was thinking, okay, what young composer are they sticking with Hans Zimmer here?
John Powell?
And I should realize that this
That
is the
is
beginning of Hans
incorrect.
Zimmer's
I'm gonna go
career.
to Chance for
What
Steele, Chance for
experienced
question.
composer
Hans
were they
Zimmer
placing with
shared
Hans
credit
Zimmer?
for the score of Batman
Mhm.
Begins with which
So that's why I went with
composer?
John
And
Powell
then the
instead
multiple choice
of
options: A. James Horner, B. James Newton
correct
Howard,
answer that
C. John
Chance
Powell, or
Newton.
D. Klaus Badell.
Taking that point right back, James Newton Howard.
That is correct for 1 point. That's a big steal.
And he's right. He gets his point back that he lost. So that is
a
a
great
big steal
question.
there from Chance.
By the way, had I gotten that right,
Best
that's the game.
tie chance going into round
That
number
is a
three.
rough
Quite a
question.
big steal there.
Great
But now we're
question.
back to the
Rough
Barbarian for a 2-point question in the world of scores and soundtracks. The song.
Okay, excuse me.
We just had an exclusive like 15 minutes ago.
Literally, and it was
Marvel movie.
Majestic.
Spider-Man
Okay,
2.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not the one with Nickelback. That's the
Yeah,
first.
I'd like to
Spider-Man.
point out that
Good
that
call.
this
2
how great
points.
that song was.
And we move
I am
on to your third
vindicated. I am selfish. I am wrong.
Danny,
I am wrong. I swear
And
I'm right.
which
I swear
other
I knew it
composer
all along.
I own that
credited for
soundtrack.
the
I love the
score
music in
of
that movie,
Age
so I
of
knew that one. I'm like,
Ultron?
oh, I know that one. I love that soundtrack.
I guess for this one, I guess
Brian Tyler.
Silvestri.
2 more
Oh,
points
you were
for the
wrong.
Barbarian.
Yeah,
Christian.
obviously,
He's
I'm
trying to tie things up
No,
going into round 3.
You guessed Sylvester because he did this. He did the score
Yeah.
for
And your
Captain
next
America:
score-
The First Avenger,
your
The
penultimate question
Avengers,
is scores and
Avengers:
soundtracks.
Infinity War, and Avengers
Yeah.
Endgame.
songs.
Yeah.
Come on.
You
come
gotta, you
in,
gotta understand my
Newt,
thought process,
and
my dude.
everything
Come on.
burns.
Exactly. By the way,
Part of the
this
soundtrack
this
of
question,
what Marvel film?
while a valid question, is by far the hardest scores and soundtracks question I've ever heard. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, what soundtrack that you've never heard of has these 3 songs on it?
that's rough.
I had no idea.
And I was debating. So
Multiple choice. Is it A, Ghost
I was
Rider,
debating at this point
B,
between Ghost Rider and
Four,
Fantastic
2005,
and almost
C,
went with
Ghost
Fantastic
Rider,
Four.
Spirit
But
of
one thing
Vengeance,
that I typically
D,
do is
Daredevil.
if you're doing multiple choice and 2 of the items are very similar to one another, then it's probably
Gonna
one of those
go
2.
That's actually, I've heard that.
Ghost
That makes
Rider.
sense.
That is incorrect. Chance, the question. The songs Come On, Come In, Newts, and Everything Burns were part of the soundtrack of what Marvel film? Is it A, Ghost Rider?
I definitely knew it
B,
wasn't
Fantastic
Daredevil
Four,
because I had the Daredevil
2005,
soundtrack, and I
C,
knew
Ghost
these
Rider,
last
Spirit
ones
of
up in
Vengeance,
Daredevil
or D,
soundtrack.
Daredevil?
I just kept thinking if
I
it's
was definitely
Daredevil,
thinking
if it
Daredevil.
were Daredevil, it would have included the
It
Evanescence.
was huge, but that is
And
incorrect.
that's songs plural. There are multiple.
2005,
Yeah.
no point
But
for
it would
Lawrence.
include
That
at
But
question-
include at least one of them.
Barry's trying to
I
get
would
something
recommend
in
My
it.
Immortal, Bring Me to Life.
Going
Two.
Under,
Get
or
this
yeah, Bring Me to
question.
Life. Yeah.
Then
That's
he
good.
will be
Okay.
within 2. Here we go.
Man, that
Actual
album
film.
is great. Okay,
Slash Elvis.
my Tourniquet. Oh my
Who
lord,
composed the
that song
score
gave me
of
life.
Doctor Strange and Spider-Man Homecoming?
Michael Giacchino.
We are within 2 points.
Those
Christian.
Italian names,
James
I
Ellison going to
swear.
take a 2-point lead.
And I want to, like I said, I knew like and if it was any just straightforward, hey, who composed this score? I would like, I would have known it off the top of my head.
Scrapping
But
to take
so,
this fight into the
but
third
fun
round.
fact,
All
by
right,
the
bringing
way,
back both Shannon and
so
Gucci.
before we were
Round number
told
3 mark. How's
that
it
we
go?
were not able
In what,
to use
I
like
guess classifies as a defensive struggle in Innergeekdom
existing
based on
music
these
that we had to
competitors'
use like
know-how. Round number 3 will determine
trademark,
the match. Unless we go to
non-copyrighted
sudden
music.
death overtime.
I had actually been planning to
Each
use a
competitor's gonna give us
song
a
off
series
of
numbers.
the
These numbers can
Daredevil
range from
soundtrack
1
as my
to
walk-up
16.
music. I was
Need
planning
3 numbers from each of you.
Sad
Each
Exchange
number
by
corresponds
Finger
to a
11.
different corner.
Great
of
choice.
Innergeekdom Schmodown know-how.
That's
Your
a
first question's worth 2
great
points.
song.
Your next one is worth 3 points. Your last one, 5.
I will
big
also
points
say
are
it's
on the
it's
line and
interesting.
possibly,
So,
quite
by
possibly,
virtue of
the match.
not being
So,
ahead of chance here,
that being said,
I didn't
Chance
get to
Ellison,
get the numbers I
you
actually
enjoy
wanted.
the 2-point lead
I was going to
into
use
round
the
number
dates
3.
that were
Which
the numbers that were
right
about
now?
Sonia's birthday, which her birthday is August 22nd. So I was going to use 8/22, and Chance uses
12, 2, and 8.
Yep.
both of them.
Okay.
He used both of them.
Yeah.
And he had no idea. It's not something I talked to him about. He has no idea what Sonia's birthday is. And he
Score,
just randomly
16.
chose Sonia's birthday.
Which is 1 and 6. And then for my third number, I will go with 16 itself.
1, 6, and 16. I see.
Makes sense. That checks out.
Great number.
All right, 1, 6, and 16. All right, so we're going to start with Shannon. Shannon, you have 60 seconds to talk to
Guys,
here.
everyone in the chat, I want to know what would be your strengths and weaknesses in IG.
Don't even worry about round 2. It doesn't matter.
I like to hear them. And what would be your intro song?
All your JTE
if you were competing.
Listen.
It has to be a song from a IG.
Let's finish this out. Let's go.
All right, Shannon hitting the advice there. Gucci.
I can picture you, Kelsey, using one of the songs from Suicide Squad. I can't remember what it's called.
Fantastic game so far.
No, not Heathens. No, not Heathens.
Are you sure it's not Heathens?
I like Heathens. I was actually leaning Birds of Prey with Jokes on You. I like that one.
Oh, yeah.
What about It's a Man's?
That song is beautiful. She is so good. And
Barbarian, you chose category number 1 for your 2-pointer.
So
Category
good.
number 1, Indiana Jones.
Black Canary is so gorgeous.
Jones in the Last
I
Crusade.
loved her casting.
What
She did
two-word
such a good
phrase
job
does
with her.
Indy say to the other zipline
I love that movie,
passengers?
though.
Zipline
As you can tell by
passengers
my
after he
background.
throws Colonel Vogel out the window.
No, Ticket.
No ticket.
That is correct for
Yes.
2 points. 2 points.
I just saw Last Crusade last week.
A tie game here, 18-18, and now
Even
Chance
James Silent Bob Strike Back.
you take the lead right
Oh,
back.
I can't. I'm sorry. I cannot get into that movie.
Yes,
I just
Will,
can't.
Christian,
really
and
can't.
that corresponds.
It's dated. It didn't age very well.
It-
The Wizarding
I
World.
respect for what it did. It's just it was just rough for me to watch. That one, including the new one, even felt.
What is the name?
I really love the new one.
Sweets
Yeah.
that look like.
I love the first one when it came out too.
It's like grass,
Um,
pokies, and rotten egg.
For the
every flavor beans.
Well, I feel like Kevin Smith, especially with those movies in particular, I feel like those are made for
That is right.
real
2
Kevin
points.
Smith
Chance gets it.
fans.
Chance takes
And
the lead.
that is
And now we get back to the
And
Barbarian.
those movies are
Barbarian
100%
chose
justified. Now, I like
six.
Kevin
Category
Smith, but I
number
don't
6
love
the
Kevin
Barbarian.
Smith. Like, I love
There
Zach
you go.
Making Porno.
Who
I
said it?
love Mallrats.
Quote.
I love Chasing
There
Amy.
you go.
But, the Jay and Silent Bob's Right Back. And,
What
I love Dogma.
Angelina
But,
said, arrogance may
and
not
stuff
be
that,
a
like,
uniquely
weird,
American trait,
so
but I must say,
very hit
you
and
do
miss
it
for
better
me,
than anyone.
but because I don't love Kevin Smith, I don't love him. I feel like I can't really appreciate Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. The new one.
That is correct for 3 points. Barbarian with a massive 3 points there. Big shot.
All right, so,
All right.
so real quick, let's pause this real quick.
Take his lead right back.
So at this point, I'm up 21-20. He has a 3 and a 5 left, right? And Chance is historically not very good at 5-pointers, and I'm hoping maybe he'll get a hard 3-pointer. Now, watch my face as he gets asked his 3-pointer.
He is looking to hit his 3-pointer, and he chose category number 2. Mark, category number 2.
That's right, Christian. You may have heard of this category. It's called Star Wars.
That's right.
And for 3 points, Chance, and to regain the lead, your question in a galaxy far, far away. Who voices the character of Rio Durant, a 4-limbed Ardennian who is in Beckett's crew in
I like actively roll my eyes.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying this couldn't be a 3-pointer,
Chance reclaims the
but I
lead.
knew he was going to know this right away.
Yeah.
They're going
I've watched a few reaction videos, and every one of the reaction videos knows this question right away. I'm not gonna say, I'm not one to say, oh, that's too easy for this, that's too easy for that. But I definitely rolled my eyes because I knew there was no chance that Ellison didn't know that.
The IG tournament. All right, Barbarian, for your 5-pointer, you chose category number 16. 16. You got yourself mixed bag. Mixed bag, here you go.
Mixed bag.
What 2014 film has the rare distinction of serving as a prequel, midquel, and sequel to its 2006 predecessor?
What kind of question is that?
Oh, that's a
I mean,
5-pointer.
What does that mean? I don't understand. I don't understand the question.
And here's the thing. It would be a very good question if it was a correct question.
I don't understand. What is it?
First, second one. There you go.
Well, we'll
What
talk about it
2000
after this.
rare distinction of serving as a prequel, a midquel, and a sequel to its 2006 predecessor.
It's Frozen Focus. I don't know.
Hobbit. No, that's the Middle Earth.
Prequel, sequel,
Prequels,
and midquel.
midquel,
I was thinking like the middle Hobbit movie. It's a prequel.
No.
I'm gonna go with X-Men Days of Future Past.
And
No, it's all prequels. It's not a midquel. No.
Advancing to the finals, the Cobra.
All right, so
Do
what was
we
it?
want to watch the post-match stuff, or do we want to talk about this question?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, Back to the Future 2 is a good answer to a midquel. So PLD's question of was my answer technically also correct? So I'll say this right now. I believed at the time that my answer was technically correct, because in my mind. So again, the question was what 2014 film was a prequel, sequel, and midquel to its 2006 predecessor. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what films came out in those 2 years? And I line up on X-Men Days of Future Past came out in 2014. X-Men The Last Stand came out in 2006. X-Men The Last Stand is a direct sequel to X-Men Days of Future Past is a direct sequel to X-Men The Last Stand. And it's also a prequel to it by virtue of the time travel going in the past. And there's the scene at the very end of the film, which I had interpreted as appearing in the year 2006. And I had interpreted it as such because if you watch the film, it's like we get Kelsey Grammer showing up as Beast, which he had only ever been in X-Men The Last Stand. We get Bobby and Rogue looking like they're still students at the academy. And we get Jean Grey and Cyclops looking like they haven't aged a day since 2006. Now, I discussed this with PJ earlier this week, and he argued that it actually does not take place in 2006 and does indeed take place in whatever far future. And again, they never even say what year X-Men Days of Future Past takes place. It's unyeared. There's no date on it. They just said the future. There's never a date given. But the rewatching it, asking myself, does it take place in 2006 or in the future? I was able to pick out a few things that are in there that are meant to confirm that it is in the future. One of which is that Xavier is not in his chair from 2006. He's in his chair. He's in that weird floaty chair that he's using in the far future. And the other is the wisps of gray hair that Wolverine has. Never mind the fact that he is the only person
that
they try to age up. No one else has been aged up at all, except for the only character who doesn't age has been aged up. So
very fair point.
So after reviewing the tape on X-Men Days of Future Past, I will concede that it is not a midquel. No, at the end, no, I just rewatched this. At the end, it doesn't say a year. It just shows he's got. I'd have to double check that. I didn't see a year on the alarm clock. Oh, Silent Moose is asking why didn't I challenge? And the answer is I tried to challenge, but it was too late. If you and here's the thing, the window you have to challenge is so small. And we saw this in Ace's match against Dimolanta, where Winston tried to challenge Demolanta's answer of Tobias Beckett based on his spelling of Tobias, which I would argue, had he used the challenge, that he would have lost because, Tobias, that's what he had written down. That is as phonetically correct as Geppetto, as David O. Russell, and he said it correctly, and it's not like he had the correct answer written down. Anyway, point is that they didn't let him review it based on how much time had passed. The amount of time that you have to issue a challenge is very minimal. So initially, I was shocked that I was told I had the incorrect answer. And then, yes, and then as Malcolm points out here, and by the way, so my initial reaction here, because I was, if we get to the here, actually, you know what? Let it play and get to my my post match interview stuff real quick. That'll speak a little bit more.
300 Rise of an Empire. 300 Rise of an Empire. Thank you.
Something's echoing.
Out here for a moment here.
Oh, there it is.
Shannon,
Okay, good now.
he did it. The Cobra is going to the finals with a final score, defeating the Barbarian 23-21.
Definitely an uphill climb for sure, Greg. I also am,
how are you feeling,
very
Shannon?
impressed with,
He could be playing against Mike Kalinowski should Mike win tomorrow against Damon.
Of course, he pulled this off. I have been saying since day one that this is Chance's time. He's talented. He knows his stuff. He works harder than anyone in the room. I knew he could pull it off. He already took care of Parker. This was just a bonus. Chance, I'm just like
waiting for Mike to like hop around in the back.
I know in that corner be like,
no, you will never understand how this black heart is just churning with love for you right now. It's insane. I never thought I could love like anything.
I believe Mike was
Chance,
banned for the premises.
You are 3-1 now. You have defeated the likes of Paul Oyama, Robert Parker, and now the Barbarian. These are three solid competitors here.
Oh, yeah.
How are you feeling? The second round was a little rough. You put up a really good fight here too, but you stayed strong, and now you look at your first finals. How are you feeling?
I feel great, Chris. You know what's funny? When you posted the bracket the first time, everyone's like, Chance got the hard pack. He ain't going past round one. He ain't going past round two.
I haven't seen it.
Where am I now? I'm in the finals, and this is all due to my team.
Is you pause the screen, or is it just frozen?
Thank you for that.
Yours is frozen.
Yeah, I'm here.
So once it gets to me on the screen, just pause it.
Okay.
All right, you say you're ready to take it on the way.
Oh.
Shannon, go ahead.
Yeah. Something very interesting for all you nerds out there. All of these greatest players that you guys love so much, your Parkers and your Smets and your Barbarians, the undefeatable players, Barbarian may never lose another match again. But just like everyone that has come before him, they're always going to have that one loss, and it's always going to be from a member of Corruption. So suck
Or
up.
the Schmominati.
Certainly putting up a lot of points and having an impressive amount of work done by a multitude of competitors in that faction. But Chance, I got to ask you, now knowing that you play the winner of Kalinowski Damon, do you maybe take a break from your study partner and say, okay, you go take this one, champ. I'm just going to go chill over here. Or is it business as usual in Kalinowski's prep?
Oh, business as usual. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to help beat Damon. And then after that, we'll see what happens.
Well, that's a good question though, too, because look, you guys have worked. You've been with Mike since your first day in this league. He brought you in the league during Anarchy. You played together.
It's still
you won
Corruption.
Championship together. You're going to be playing for the team championship again together. Is it something? I know, obviously, for the faction, you guys both want to get to the finals because you could potentially even take over first place with a couple more victories here. But is it a little bittersweet that you might have to face your partner and potentially stop his journey from getting back to that match to get his third Innergeekdom championship?
Look, I'm not. I know what this looks like. Everything I am is because of Mike. I owe it all to him. So it'd be very bittersweet to be in the middle, but it'd be great because it's not enemies going after each other. It's two of the closest friends in this league, and not to mention there's not going to be any bad blood because we're not like these other factions like the Finstock Exchange, where it's a giant ego factory. Because we are a team, we are Corruption, we are we, and whoever wins, is going to go and take that belt.
Boom.
All right, listen, Chance, I got to congratulate you here. You're playing. You are the story. You are definitely the story of the tournament because
the only reason why Corruption doesn't have a lot of egos at play is because they only have 3 competitors.
And the other side of that, though, is Alex Damon. Alex Damon is kind of doing what you're doing on the other side of that bracket right now, and he is the Star Wars champion.
Dropped.
So as much as we can say, oh yeah, it could be a Corruption final, Alex Damon might have something to say about that. So what would you say if it was not Mike and it's Alex Damon that you're going to be playing tomorrow? How would you feel about that match?
Oh, beating Damon's going to be the easy part. Like that's going to be the easy part. I will take out Damon in a second before I take on Mike. But you know what? Mike's going to take him out, so it doesn't matter.
Damn you, Schmominati!
Everyone is saying that the Finstock Exchange is going to be impossible to catch up to. They had too big of a lead. Well, with Laura Kelly's performance in the Star Wars tournament, Chance Ellison's performance here in the Innergeekdom, and with Mike knocking a win by Mike tomorrow, puts you guys very close, if not in first place. How are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling exactly how I should. This is exactly what I have been saying from day one, that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Everyone thought I would be worried. Everyone's corruption sucks, this and that. And never will I let that bother me because I understand that this is a long game. I drafted 3 incredible players to cover all of my bases. They're triple threats. They're absolutely amazing. And we're going to be sitting high and pretty at the end of this tournament, just where we belong.
All right. Well, thank you again, Chance. Congratulations. The Cobra, Chance Ellison, defeating the Barbarian here by a
Pure
score
explosions.
of
That's fireworks
23
outside my
21.
window. Just
All
so
right,
everyone
gonna
knows.
drop you guys out here at
Good
the
to know.
moment and bring back.
I can hear
both
fireworks
Bobby
right here.
Gucci and
So let's
the
pause
Barbarian.
this. Let's pause this right
Look,
here.
Gooch,
Pause
this is
this. All right. You see what's going on right here? You see my arms?
Mhm.
What's going on here is the entire time that they've been talking, I've been arguing with them about whether or not V for Vendetta came out in 2005 or 2006. And because immediately after the match ended, I wanted to double check in my mind what had gone wrong with that question. And I was furious when I saw it listed as 2005 everywhere. And I started chatting with them about it. And then and so then I do this interview. And then following the interview is when I tried to challenge my 5-pointer when I realized, wait a second, I think my 5-pointer was also correct. And it was while we were discussing that, that it came up that they had said 2006 and not 2007, which was the year that 300 was released. And the issue is, and as Malcolm pointed out in the chat, that not only was the situation of V for Vendetta and 300 the same, and that there was a festival the previous year and then it had its wide release, but it was the same goddamn festival. It was the Butt-Nummathon Film Festival.
Jesus, are you?
What a name for a festival! That's fascinating.
It's this one random ass festival that I'd never heard of before in my life until today. And at the end of the day, it's like, here's the deal. I've seen, and this is what drives me crazy in the Facebook chat, the Facebook group about this, is that I'm seeing people defend both of these questions as being correct using the opposite logic. And I will say that both questions are problematic. And one of them is incorrect, whatever way you slice it, because they did not come out in the same year. And they're both listed as 2006 films in this game. One of them had a festival debut in 2005 and a theatrical release in 2006. The other had a festival release in 2006 and a theatrical release in 2007. And they were both listed as 2006 in this match.
Same match, yep.
If they had been consistent, I would have gotten one of them correct. If you had said 2005 for V for Vendetta, there was absolutely no chance I would have said Superman Returns, and 100% chance I would have said V for Vendetta. If they had said 2007 for my 5-pointer, there was 0% chance that I was going to say X-Men Days of Future Past, because there was no X-Men film released in 2007. And while I can't say I can't say that in terms of the definitive, what I can say definitively is I would have immediately discarded that as a possible answer. And there are very few Innergeekdom films with sequels in that time frame. And I would have, I had 2 JTE rules to work with. And had they said 2007, I feel extremely confident that I would have gotten to 300 Rise of an Empire.
Totally makes sense.
So
what
you
I'm
guys are
hearing
frozen.
is,
So I'm just going to nod my head like this until you're unfrozen.
oh man,
Frozen dance.
okay.
All right, hey, you're unfrozen now. You're unfrozen. Yay!
Okay, so it sounds like this match was not only a learning process, a learning curve for you, obviously, as a competitor and recognizing those challenges. And not only that, but having the confidence in so little time to be able to make a confident challenge effective. But I mean, I can't imagine being in your shoes, because it really is a difficult situation for sure. And I don't know how Gucci was in the back. I don't know what his situation was, because I know managers also need to be, have to be pretty much on the same wavelength as you as far as issuing those challenges as well.
Yeah. And I mean, even as we say, and it's very problematic in these matches. Like, if you go back, I forget which match it was. I think it was the Ace Laura Kelly match, where Winston tried to challenge something in the chat, the private chat of the match, and they didn't see it in time. And so because they didn't see that he challenged in time
at the time, yeah,
it was not like there was no, the challenge wasn't honored. So unfortunately, in these matches, it's this is just an unfortunate fact of the world we're in right now. It's very much incumbent on the competitor to be the one to issue the challenge, because again, we can't rely on the announcers keeping an eye on the chat to get any challenges from the actual managers in time. And it's Gesundheit, Alex. Is that the COVID?
I'm dying.
I'm kidding. That joke was in poor taste. But look,
we're always in poor taste on Called Action. It's fine.
That
at
is
any rate,
the truthest.
I mean,
truth you've ever heard.
At the end of the day, this whole match reminds me of something that my high school wrestling coach used to say, which is never let it be close enough that the referees can determine the match. And while it wasn't the referees that determined the match here, this match was clearly and definitively impacted by problematic and incorrect questions. There were two questions that were incorrect, an additional question that was problematic. Clearly, the Captain Tarple's question was incorrect, which cost me a JTE rule. And both the V for Vendetta question and the 300 Rise of an Empire question were problematic, and one of the two was incorrect, whatever way you slice it, because they weren't released in the same year, and the same year was given for both of them. So one of them was incorrect. So my point is, I'm not holding anything against Chance about this at all. Chance played a hell of a game. He again was not tripped up by the round one questions that tripped me up, and kudos to him for that. But at the same time, it does stick in my craw a bit that the final score of this game was determined by 2 points, and I feel like what I would like to see happen, and we've already seen changes happen in the writing staff because of this, and I'm very happy about that. But also, what I would like to see happen is I would love to get a rematch against Chance in Innergeekdom, whether it be this year or next year. Now, this year would be difficult because at this point, the Innergeekdom tournament has finished, and both Chance and I are prepping for both singles and teams. And as I said before, the preparation for singles and teams is significantly different than the preparation for Innergeekdom. And next year would then be much more appropriate. And as this is the week that would be Comic-Con had there been an actual Comic-Con, it strikes me in my mind that should the Schmodown should there be a 2021 Comic-Con San Diego, and should the Schmodown do another live event at Comic-Con San Diego, that a rematch between the Barbarian and Ellison, a grudge match rematch with all correctly written questions that have been vetted by our new editor, I think that is the appropriate recourse for this.
I would love that, not only because that match would be fantastic, but you guys come in with both your entrance music at a live event. Get some David B going. Yeah, I'm sold.
I just demand a live event. All live events, every live event. It could be like a low key if everything, I don't want to say goes back to normal, because I don't feel like that's like the right way to say it. If everything if people start doing better rather suddenly, you know,
Wear a mask.
You mean if it magically disappears? Yeah, that would
yeah, exactly. So essentially, if people out of nowhere just started doing better, like ASAP, where we could do events and people did take the necessary safety precautions, and we could do a live event before the end of the year. I will.
That's not going to happen.
What? Crazy, Craig. What?
We're already planning on doing spectacular remotely.
I
Like
know.
this is,
I know.
Christian's already talked about. Like we're not like.
I know.
Like, but next year, Comic-Con 21, Ellison Barbarian at Comic-Con. How awesome would that be?
I'd be there.
Barbarian 2 at Comic-Con. Although technically it'll be Ellison Barbarian 3 because we're in the same quartile of the singles tournament.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am serious. The singles tournament breaks and posted. Now, in order to get there, I have to beat both Whitney Seibold and probably William Bibiani, unless he loses to the winner of James White and Frank Moran, which
I just put that up real quick.
I've never seen White or Moran play, so I look at the end of the day, William Bibiani is one of the A+ premier players in the Schmodown and can beat any other player on any given day. So he is someone that I have the utmost reverence and respect for. And so I am going to work my butt off to make sure that Barbarian Ellison 2 happens in this singles tournament and we get this blood match, this grudge match, blood match in the singles tournament. But, if that doesn't happen, we'll have Barbarian Ellison 2 next year in IG. And if it's not next year at the, if it's Barbarian Ellison 3 next year instead, so be it. That's what we're aiming for. But I want Christian to hear this right now.
We'll clip it. Gotcha.
we want look here and again. Here are the facts. There were 2 incorrectly written questions in this match.
Mm-hmm.
There was a third problematic question in this match. The loss is on me. I had other chances to win this match that I did not capitalize on. But I would love a rematch with chance at San Diego Comic-Con 2021.
And I would pay so much money to see that.
We do.
Who wouldn't pay for that? That would be an amazing match.
Everyone in the chat, would you pay for those tickets? Let us know right now. Absolutely. Let us know. We're just want to give you a heads up. We are going to be coming to a close here pretty soon, for this episode of Call to Breakdown. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, any other ideas when it comes to Schmodown, all that good stuff, any predictions for the upcoming IG or singles tournaments, let us know in a Streamlab or in a super chat. We really would appreciate it. The links are down below, or you can do a little bit down there in the little chat, little corner down head up. So I would appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm looking. I'm saying I want to address something that PC saying here in the chat about trying to screw the den. Look, no one's look. You know who's trying to screw the den. This is a little. I don't get to do a lot of smack talk because I'm a face. But look, who's screwing the den is Kate Mulligan. The fact that she abandoned Brandon Hanna and traded him away before that IG tournament, and then refused to put Ben Goddard in the singles tournament. What is she thinking? They were. I thought they were going to be contenders. They could have been a contender, but I can't believe that Kate Mulligan in her doing her best impression of a soccer mom trying to get every child to play did not. Did not manage an optimal lineup. If it was me managing that team, which, just, throwing it out there, I would say
and you're frozen.
Yeah, what? I'm frozen? I'm frozen?
Yeah, you're totally frozen. We're waiting for you.
I'm frozen. Am I still frozen?
We can hear you, but you look frozen.
Oh, okay. My face. No one needs to see my face. There we go. Put Hannah and Saul in the IG tournament, and that way you don't trade Hannah for James White, and then you put Silvestrini, Goddard, Tom, and Paul in the singles tournament. Like, it's a no-brainer. I'm shocked. I am shocked. I mean, she traded away one of the best IG players, and and
get past the second round, my dude. Is he the best?
I mean,
one of the best IG competitors.
Didn't get past the second round because Alex Damon got a 5-point Star Wars question, which, let's be frank, and again, I don't want to. Let's be frank. Alex Damon plays in the Star Wars division. Had that question been asked in the Star Wars division, that would not have been a 5-pointer in the Star Wars division. I'm not going to say whether or not it was, worthy of 5-pointedness in the Innergeekdom division. I myself, again, I know a ton about the Phantom Menace and Hugh Quarshie playing Captain Panaka, but in the Star Wars division, I mean, that's probably a first-round question. So that's they're different divisions, and he is the Star Wars division champion who just got lucky enough to get his 5-pointer be a question that he knew like the back of his hand. And that's not me. And let me clarify. I have all the respect in the world for Alex Damon, but I also have all the respect in the world for Brandon Hanna, and
Let's not exaggerate.
Let me clarify. Brandon Hanna, the competitor, not Brandon Hanna, the personality, not Brandon Hanna, the guy who in this match was talking trash about the beautiful work that Nerdtronic did on mine and Chance's promo. I was there watching the chat live, and he was talking about it being boring. It's like, this is giving everyone in the building goose pimples, and you think it's boring?
Because he has no
goose pimples, I say. We all had goose pimples.
Goose pimples! I've never heard that before in my life.
You've never heard goose pimples? It's a thing.
I've heard goose pimples.
I've never heard that before in my life. They're goosebumps. What?
Goose pimples. Goose pimples.
That's almost distracting now. Goose
pimples. Goose pimples. Anyway, point is.
The Schmominati would go. They would buy tickets though because they can get them for free, I guess. So.
Of course.
Of course.
But no, my point is, I'm just Monday morning quarterbacking the Den season. It's like, look, you drafted Hanna in the 3rd round because he was one of the top rated IG competitors. He loses one match and you give up on him. Why? I don't understand that. You want Saul, Saul's a guy who was like, hey, you drafted me to be an IG. Okay, play him in IG. And clearly he did very well against Hanna. I have a ton of respect for Saul as well. And again, I got a ton of respect for Goddard, but Goddard plays in other divisions. So you got 2 guys that are IG only and 1 guy that plays in singles and teams. You get an IG tournament, put your 2 IG guys in it and say, sorry, singles guy, wait for the singles tournament. You don't trade away your IG guy to put your singles guy in the IG tournament and then keep your singles guy out of the singles tournament. What sense does that make?
I remember thinking there was a good reason, but I can't think of everyone in our faction off the top of my head right now, to be completely honest.
The reason Kate gave was that she knew that Brandon would have to face Robert Parker early on, and that she was worried that would ruin his confidence. So she instead of letting him get his confidence ruined by facing Robert Parker, decided to ruin his confidence by letting him not play the rest of the season. Insane decision. Poor managerial choice.
Well, he lost at the end of the day. So, I mean, was it really a bad investment?
Well, I mean, how many points did Saul get and how many points did Hanna get?
That's true. However, who did she get?
But you really want Hanna on your text chain. I just feel like there's a lot of negative energy in there.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, she still has James White.
But she has James White because she traded Brandon Hanna for him.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying.
Fight over Brandon Hanna any day of the week. Any day. At that point, she had multiple IG competitors on her roster, but what she needed at the time, in her words, was pretty much she needed more singles and potential teams competitors. She didn't need
more singles and teams competitors. She had 4 singles and teams competitors, and she took one of her best singles competitors out of the singles tournament.
Because he didn't want to compete in that one.
Did he? I'm sorry. You're saying that he didn't want to compete, or are you saying like? And here's the thing: is it that he didn't want to compete in it, or was willing to be a good team player and let James White play in the tournament instead of him? Which I don't disagree that James White situation should never have occurred, because she shouldn't have traded Brandon Hanna for James White. She should have kept Brandon Hanna and put him in the IG tournament instead of Ben Goddard, because Ben Goddard had already proven that he can compete at a high level in singles and teams.
Not everyone is like you, Craig, where you can compete in all three levels simultaneously, potentially. So I mean, it's really difficult. So I mean, like at the end of the day, sure, I mean, like it's really amazing if you can, but sometimes you're like, realistically, I just need to take a step back. I need to refocus, and that's the best thing you can do for yourself as a competitor. And a manager needs to be able to recognize that right away with her competitors. You know, if she recognized her competitor with Ben, and she could tell as a manager, hey, I can tell he's not on his A game. He needs to take a break.
But he shouldn't have been.
Or else it's gonna.
But my butt is he shouldn't have been in the IG tournament. Hannah should have been in the IG tournament instead of Ben. You're frozen, Alex. You're frozen.
No, that's just my face. It's frozen.
Yeah. It was frozen.
Just your face.
It's just my face.
Again, this is all Monday morning quarterbacking, but it's like, look, I'm glad she made these decisions because Den's no longer contending. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's, you know, as a manager, you got to make sometimes very risky decisions. And you're right. At the end of the day, Saul didn't get any points. Hannah did. I also think Saul did amazing for his.
No, Saul did great. And again, I'm not arguing that Saul shouldn't have been put in this tournament. I'm saying that Ben shouldn't have been put in the tournament. And not because Ben couldn't do it, but because she had two other IG competitors who specialized in IG, and she should have saved Ben for the singles and teams.
I could see your point.
Yeah. Perhaps. You should come on call live sometime, Craig.
Yeah.
We're all frozen. You're all frozen.
Okay, so over in the chat, like I said, it's been a few minutes. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to agree, disagree, whatever it might be, with any one of us, please let us know in a super chat or in a Streamlabs, little donation. We'd really appreciate that. It's right, Heather. But yeah, absolutely. Craig, my dude, walking away from this match. I don't have any alcohol. Lucas, give me some alcohol.
God damn it, Lucas. Get her some alcohol.
Alcohol.
It's been hours that we've been saying get her some alcohol. It's been like 3 hours. We've been asking you.
We have been asking for alcohol for Alex for a very long time.
Guys, I will be back. Give me a minute.
She's going to do it herself.
All right. Well, instead of doing my shot at tequila, I will sip on the tequila. Does anyone else have any questions for me while we're here before we go get this?
Yes, please send in questions. Let's see if anyone sent anything in. A lot of Kate defense in the chat, but
no, I mean, look.
Yeah.
The argument isn't that Goddard couldn't hang in the IG. Goddard could hang in the IG, and he did hang in the IG. He acquitted himself very well. But
okay, so I got my chaser as well, so I'm coming prepared.
Nice.
Lucas is watching Ben Goddard, I believe. Well, that's a failure on his part.
What is that? Your Jameson coffee?
Yeah, it's a cold brew whiskey coffee. It's not like actual coffee. It's just like coffee. It's Jameson Irish whiskey infused with natural cold brew coffee flavor. Product of Ireland.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I want to go to there. So someone is asking briefly thoughts on today's match. I have not yet seen today's match. I have been studying for the singles tournament today. Just to give you an idea of what I've been watching today, I finished my Taika Waititi filmography. Now I know that Taika Waititi, the chance of me facing these Taika Waititi questions are going to be fairly low, but Taika Waititi is one of my favorite filmmakers now. He has quickly gone up the ranks. But yeah, so I watched today his earliest two films, which were Eagle versus Shark and Boy.
Yes!
And I will say this, Taika Waititi is a filmmaker who has never made a bad film, and each of his films has gotten better than the one before.
And even his first one wasn't bad. And he's like mentioned in interviews that he did like a TED Talk, which was like a really amazing. If you ever get the chance to do it, it's on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half long. It's wonderful, and he's delightful in every single way. But
Don't let Lucas know you're watching it.
It's so good. It's so good. But Malcolm, he's from New Zealand, and so he's like, Taika Waititi's my dude, pretty much. So he loves it, man.
I fucking love Taika. Great.
Taika Waititi never went to film school. He went to like art school or something like that, and so he has an artist background, and he couldn't get cast into movies or TV or anything, so he just decided to make up his own stuff. Him and Jermaine, they just were hanging. They were like best buds, and they just made.
Alex is frozen. Someone's going down my head.
There you go.
All right, you're unfrozen, Alex.
Okay. But yeah, so he started as an artist. He made a movie based off like roles that he couldn't get, that he tried auditioning for, and so he just made it up himself. And one of my favorite comedies of all time is a result of said results. It's What We Do in the Shadows.
So good. So good.
It's so good. Speaking of so good, anyone want to take a drink with me?
Yeah, we're doing this. Cheers.
Cheers, Slash.
Cheers.
Everyone in the chat, let's do this. Oh, it tastes so good. We have a super chat from Silent Moose.
Yeah. So,
Smets
Craig,
or
do you think
Chandru?
Smets or Chandru?
So here's the thing. That match is going to be
savage.
That's going to go into multiple OTs. Like I think, like first off, it's like both of these guys have just spent months and months and months preparing for this. Like, and I'll just go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain a little bit. This is something we probably like. I actually scrimmaged against Chandru in early April on IG back before I'd really studied anything, and I found out exactly how far I had to go. It was very far. He KO'd me in our scrimmage. No, it wasn't a KO. It was a TKO. It was a TKO. I at least got into the third round.
Not surprised.
Yeah, he TKO'd me in the third in the scrimmage we did, but I don't think he missed a question the entire scrimmage we had, and he is like, dude is
a heel.
Look, he's had time to learn how a face is supposed to talk. He's had several months now, so maybe he knows how a face is supposed to talk now. We will see. But I mean, it's funny that since like Smets is supposed to be the heel and Chandru's supposed to be the face in this match, but I mean their actual. It's like the problem with Smets the heel is that Smets is like one of the nicest people in the league. Yeah. So it's it's really hard to take him seriously as a heel. I love both Smets and Chandru to death, and I will say I think both of them are going to. I think it's going to go into overtime, but I think that Chandru is going to blink first and Smets wins. That's what I'll say.
Ooh, Grammy. We don't get too many.
It's going to be whoever. It's going to be whoever blinks first. It's going to be multiple overtimes. Whoever blinks first, and I think Chandru blinks first in one of these multiple overtimes, and Smets wins.
Who? I can't remember off the top of my head. I think there's only been one defending IG champion, successful defending IG champion. Do you know who that is, Kelsey? Because it isn't like Kalinowski, he lost it right away, obviously, to Smets. Before that, Mara, Rachel lost it to Mara. Mara lost it to Kalinowski. And,
no.
And I'm like,
no, hold on. You're getting the order wrong. Yeah. So, Smets beat Kalinowski. Kalinowski beat Rachel.
Yes.
Rachel beat Kalinowski.
Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think but
Oh wait, yeah, sorry, I got that last one mixed up. Yeah, you're right.
And then Kalinowski beat Mara.
Mhm.
Mara beat Inman.
Inman. At the live event, yes.
Yeah. And then I believe Inman's the one who successfully defended it, right? Is Inman the only one that is successful?
I have no idea.
Okay, chat, let us
I don't remember things like this at all.
Oh, there you go. Navarro says Navarro defended against Jeremy Johns. Inman defended against Mark Donica. So I was right.
I forgot about
Navarro and Inman both defended.
Oh my god.
Navarro beat Inman. Yeah.
And don't forget,
KO also beat Smets, but that wasn't for the title. KO beat Smets in a number one's contenders match. Is what we're only going. Yeah, no. RMB never defended it. RMB lost it to Navarro, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nuts. Yeah. Okay, so in that case, technically, we've never had a defending champion.
No, we had two defending champions, Navarro and Inman. Navarro and Inman both had successful title defenses.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about Navarro. I knew he's a champion, but I never thought of him as like a. No, it's just like.
How dare you?
It was in the earlier days, you know.
It was in the earlier days, and we've seen him back, and it was just, it's a whole different, schmodown world, Yeah. It's just like a whole different thing, and that was totally fine, obviously.
Inman and Navarro defended the belts, yeah.
Yes, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it.
Let's Rockin' Movies with Tyler, who's saying this right now, and also before the Leo Logan said it. Yeah.
Thank you, my dude. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's. I don't want to say it's arguably the most difficult because they're all difficult for so many different reasons. Yeah, I do know there's a lot of discussions about IG being the hardest league to succeed in, and I feel like that's a really weird thing.
It's not the hardest one to succeed in. It just takes more work, if that makes more sense.
It just depends on what kind of competitor you are, I guess.
Look, it's like here's the thing. It's like I'll say this like I said before. It's like, and this is what I told Dagnino when I came in the league. It's like, look, right now I can compete at a champion level in singles, and I could also compete at a high level in Innergeekdom, but I would need to study a lot to do that. And that's what this year has been. It's been like that first match that I had against Clee Wiggins. Like, I was asked the day before if I'd be willing to be an alternate to have a match the next day, and I said yeah. And then we ended up being told initially that we weren't going to have a match, and then like an hour later, like, hey, someone else dropped out. Can you do a match? And then we said sure. They're like, okay, it's in 10 minutes. So like. So that first match where I didn't miss a question, I had no advance notice and very for. And that's
debut match of all time in Schmodown.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And for the IG though, like I knew I had to study a ton for IG. I'd watch those matches and playing along at home. It's like, it's like I've gone to Comic-Con for the last 12 years in a row. I have, like I said, I waited in line 30 hours to see the Phase 4 announcement for MCU last year at Hall H. It's, I love so many of these franchises with all my heart. But just loving them doesn't make you able to contend in Innergeekdom. You need to study the fucking minutia. And, it takes a lot of time and energy and money, frankly, to study the minutia. But that's what I've done. Unless there's random IG matches this season, my IG season is over. And next year, I'm going to come back even stronger in IG because I've already ramped myself up on this, and I'll have the off season to do even more. So that's that. And I feel like I'm rambling now. So that's cool. Who wants to do another shot?
Why not, my dude?
There we go. Yes.
We're getting just emotionally ready for karaoke later. So.
Exactly. We're just prepping for Video Drew karaoke, which is going on immediately after this.
Just
If you want to raid over there, go over there.
shameless plugging of karaoke.
You're frozen again.
Something I do want to mention overall, I cannot wait to
You're
see.
frozen. So frozen.
All right. I put the Video Drew link in the chat. So when this is over, raid over there for karaoke. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna raid over there for karaoke. Alex and I are gonna be singing. Join along if you'd like to sing. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, let's get cray. I can't wait to see you and in the singles tournament and IG, all that good stuff. And Kelsey, what about you? You have any final thoughts about our dear Barbarian here?
Just that this has been awesome getting to watch him in IG. I am excited for all future things he's doing in IG, but now I'm extremely excited for singles. So let's kick some butt in singles.
Sounds good. Cheers, everyone.
Slancha.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
I don't drink very much, man. Ugh.
You're Action Army, Alex.
Travis,
I
Travis,
drink beer.
I want to answer Travis's real question real quick. He says, "How do I feel about being in a competitive league with actual filmmakers and actors?" I fucking love it. I think they give a lot of legitimacy to the league. I think, the fact that, and it's not even just the filmmakers and the actors, it's also like film critics and whatnot. It's like, I do live and work in Hollywood as well. I mean, that's how I got into the league in the first place. I used to work with Christian and Ethan Irwin, and it was years and years ago. But clearly, had kept in touch with both of them over the years, and that gave me a leg up on getting into the league. But no, it's that. The notion of having like a Kevin Smith in the league, I've seen Ethan Irwin have to answer questions about movies he produced. There's like questions about, Sam Levine movies get asked in there.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Come on.
Oh my God, that was
so good. They legitimately
my
didn't
favorite.
know.
It's my favorite moment in Showdown, the Roka Irwin title match, where he's like, "Nope, this match is over. No champion."
So great! Oh my God!
No, this league is. I mean, by any measure, this league is a fucking miracle, and I fucking love it more than life itself at this point.
Goose pimples and all.
Goose pimples.
Goose pimples and all. Awesome. Okay. All right. Yeah, we took our final shot before heading over. And real quickly, before we head all out, where can we find you, Craig? Where can we find you, everything you're doing, and hear all your awesome sayings like Goose Pimples?
Thank you. Well, you'll find me in the first round of the singles tournament facing Whitney, the Beauty Cybold, and that's going to be a hell of a match. We have not yet taped it yet, but I'm sure we are both working our asses off to give you guys the best possible match. It could go into overtime. You never know. And on social media, you can find me on Instagram, the other IG, at CF Gaynier, C for Craig, F for Franklin, and Gaynier as in the French word to win, Gaynier. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mogwai417. Often during the Video Drew things, I'm just streaming myself waiting to sing with Video Drew. And then on Twitter, you can find me at Barbarian Craig.
Perfect.
Love it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I also run the Call to Action IG, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we've got merch. They either are still having a sale or just finished having a sale. So go check it out. Get some masks and things. Wear a mask. And I will later tonight probably be streaming on Twitch. Not sure which game I'm playing. I might finish Firewatch. That might be the goal. Not sure yet. But check me out there at Kelsey Kins Gamer.
You can find me every Monday. Oh, Nikes. I just switched on my other monitor. I switched over to Twitch. So music started playing. I was like, what happened? You can find us hopping over to Twitch to hang out, do some karaoke video jury here in a hot minute. But I'm Alex Mack, part of the Call to Action crew. You can find me on Twitter at Real Alex Mack, right there. But also you can see me co-hosting a show called Cinema Biases every single Tuesday with Video Drew. We dive into our personal biases when it comes to genres, directors, etc. This coming Tuesday, I'm going to be watching for the very first time a movie I am terrified to see. I am not going to see it. We're watching Pee-wee's Big Flippin' Adventure.
That's a good movie. That's a good movie.
I do not want to see it. I've seen scenes. It makes me uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, no, duh.
I don't like the sound. I don't like Paul Rubens.
Well, look, he had a very large porn collection. He didn't know the child porn was in there.
That's completely irrelevant. He just his character Pee-wee, the Pee-wee character grosses me out. I'm like, ew. No, I can't. His character, his voice, his laugh, everything about Pee-wee character really puts me on edge, and it really.
Well, why, Alex? Why do you hate Pee-wee so much?
Legitimately stand covered. I've seen only a handful of scenes from the movie, and I'm like, fuck this movie. This sounds awful. But we're diving into that movie. We're also diving into Akira the next week. And also Mondays and Fridays, I host a show called Mornings with the Outlaw with John Roca. So we dive into a lot of movie news of the day, of the week, whatever it may be, that kind of catches our eye. So definitely come hang out with us there. All right. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us this awesome Friday evening. This has been an incredibly long episode. So thank you for your patience, your love, and we'll see you soon. Bye. 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 See you.